sit next to your
Hey, how's it going?
Cool.
It's all full.
How's it going?
So,
Hey,
Hang on.
I'm Dylan.
nice to
Nice
meet you. His birthday yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're a Pisces?
Thank you. Yes, sir.
17th, huh?
Yep.
Patty's Day. You're a celebrity, dude.
Check.
Switch going.
I hear switch.
Setting up.
Okay, but everything's recording now?
Yes.
Okay.
Nice.
Do we sound
Cool.
good? Everything sound good?
We will sound good. It doesn't really sound like much right now. He's still watching the game.
Mm-hmm.
What is it, the second quarter?
Second half, yeah.
Second half. Oh, yeah, sorry.
Shit.
College is half.
College goes halves.
Yeah. Okay. One other rule: if you're gonna talk, use your mic. Obviously, don't do one of these things.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys are fucking musicians. You know that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, first, Isaiah, do you want a non-alcoholic Heineken or coffee?
Non-alcoholics, cool.
Okay. No.
Thank you.
Make Oscar do it.
Do you have the thing?
They're not two stops? Oh, might be two stops.
Oh, wait, here it is.
No, because
Not two stops?
they're German.
They're from Holland. They're
Holland.
they're Dutch.
Yeah, I forgot
Wait,
beer.
Dutch is Holland, right?
No.
I don't know
Dutch
about
is
beer
German.
anymore.
No.
Dutch.
Thank you.
That's Deutschland.
Salud.
That's Deutschland for like.
Deutschland is
when you're like,
Germany.
oh, the Dutch are.
Deutschland is Germany.
Yeah, but when you refer to people, you're like, oh, like I'm Dutch. You say that means you're from like Holland or some shit.
Yes, actually, please.
You be all jittery up, dude.
I'm waking up. It took away my headache. I walked out of the door and I had a big ass headache for some reason. I was like, God damn it!
It's cold out there.
What was that?
This weather. Yeah.
The shot clock violation.
You guys played a show recently?
About a month ago.
What was that show?
What do we play?
Gary, Indiana.
Oh yeah,
That was fun. It was a fun show.
I played so many shows, I forgot.
What a cool guy.
Oh, sorry.
What venue in Gary did you guys play?
The D.
Yeah, it's like a comedy
The
club.
D. Comedy Club.
Yeah, it's called the D, but I think that it also has a when they do comedy shows, it's called Miller's Comedy or some shit.
Miller's Beach.
Hi. I want my baby back. I want my baby back.
You don't mind freestyles?
Fair warning, we might get really loud. We're loud people.
I love yelling, dude. No.
All right. Okay. Hello, everyone. This is the ODcast.
Yo.
I'm Oscar, Dylan, and who are you guys?
We're through and through.
I'm the vocalist, Ruben.
Guido, guitar.
Isaiah, drums.
You were talking about this, and I wanted to ask you guys. You're all Mexican, right?
Yes.
What do you guys think when a Latinx person says, "I'm not loud. I'm speaking normally,"
They're most likely
but they're
being
talking
loud.
like this all the time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're most likely being loud. They're just not accepting it.
I think
Yeah.
to them it's just normal.
Yeah, I
It's
think
probably like they
yeah.
grew up like that.
Yeah.
Some households like growing up are like loud like all the time.
Oh yeah.
My household's like loud, but I know how to like adapt myself.
I will admit it took me a while to learn how to speak quietly,
Yeah.
or the most appropriate terms.
Yeah.
But like I noticed, I go to like certain households that are not Mexican, like Puerto Rican, Cuban, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ! Like they speak so loud that I'm like, I just need to take a breather and get out of the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
I would agree. I feel like when I was younger with a lot of siblings, we were loud. And then when we got older, it was kind of a quiet household. And then when I go to other households, it was like, yeah, like it sounds like they're yelling all the time almost. But I was like, well, it's normal to them.
Yeah, people are loud in my family. Really loud. Like, my dad thinks he doesn't yell, but it's just like, you yell, man.
Oh my god! And do you guys have siblings, or are you guys an only child? or
Yeah,
what?
I have two siblings, younger siblings.
Yeah, I grew up in a household. There was 5 of us total.
Okay.
I'm the second youngest.
I I have 2 older siblings. I'm the youngest.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so it can get pretty loud.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
We can all agree one of the benefits of being old is that now you have the liberty to go to the bathroom without fighting for it.
Yeah, we have the patience, or like, yeah, even when we all like, obviously we all moved out or whatever, but when we were like older, like I guess teenagers, yeah, even then it was not like I didn't feel like I was fighting for the bathroom as I was when I was a kid.
I always kind of like scheduled like my showers and stuff like that.
What, like on a whiteboard or something? You wrote your time
No,
slot down
I would
or
just
something?
let like my siblings know like when I was gonna shower, like way ahead of time.
Smart.
All right.
I was always fighting with my sister about the bathroom. I was just always like, dude, get the fuck out. I gotta brush my teeth.
I just remember when I first started growing out my hair, I didn't, I guess, really know how to clean up after my hair in the shower. And my sisters would always get at me, be like, clean up your mess, clean up your hair. There's hair in the shower. And I was like, oh, I'm supposed to. I didn't know hair falls out when you shower. My first time growing out my hair.
You've been
I
like,
mean-
it's your hair.
But it's kind of their fault. They should have given you some pointers that
Instead
helped
of
you a
yelling
little
at me,
bit.
right?
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I didn't know. Like, I first started going out my hair when I was maybe like 12, 11 maybe. And like, I didn't know that hair falls out of the shower. Like, as an 11-year-old kid, like I had no idea. I just showered, whatever. And I didn't know hair was in the drain or whatever. And they were like, why is your hair all over the drain? And I was like, I don't know. Like, you tell me. Yeah, that's what I remember.
Golly.
So all of you guys have long hair, except the bass player, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He had long hair, like about a year and a half ago or something.
Yeah, he just decided to shave it all off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How
he's-
did that make you guys feel? Like he was going against the trend of the band.
Well, I feel like usually me and him change our hair a lot. Like he'll shave it or he'll let it grow. Like I get haircuts here and there, and then I'll let it grow again for like a year or two, and then I cut it. Like I think at this point too, right now I'm almost like I want to cut my hair already. It's annoying me. It's making me take longer showers, and But at the same time, I've grown so attached to it as well, where it's like it's kind of hard.
I'm personally for it. I'm always been more so like quote unquote against the trend. So I was like, you know what? I prefer that at least one of us doesn't have long hair because now we're not like we don't all like look alike or have to follow the like metal look or whatever
Yeah,
you want
right.
to call it.
It did look cool when we headbanged though, like all together.
I mean, yeah, that was cool, but it's something I'm willing to give up more so for the sake of being like quote unquote against the trend
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah, no doubt. Still look cool.
Against the grain.
I remember I watched clips of us like playing sometimes when we all had long hair. It looked badass.
I think when we played House of Blues, I seen some of those videos, and we all had our hair down, and we were just
Well, when we played
Going
House of
out
Blues,
it.
Surge's hair was like barely like.
What year
huge.
was that?
2017.
16 or 17.
17. So
Oh, okay.
2017. I remember that.
17.
was fun.
Had to be 17.
What'd you
Okay.
guys open up for?
So our homies in the band called Rain, they won a Battle of the Bands, was it?
I
Yeah.
think they did.
They won a Battle of the Bands, which got them to be able to play Warped Tour, the last one, I believe, and they also were able to. They gave them a chance to host like a show with locals at House of Blues.
Yeah, I think like part of them winning the Battle of the Bands, it was like sponsored by like Live Nation or whatever. And I think Live Nation was like, "Oh, you guys get to have your own concert at House of Blues," and then they needed like local people that they know, and they knew us, so we like basically played that same show.
Wow, awesome.
Really cool moment.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. We all brought like all of our friends and everything. It was a good turnout for. I mean, considering it was all like local
Local
bands
bands.
or whatever.
That was a great
For House of
turnout.
Blues, like it was still like a good turnout.
How is it that House of Blues became like the go-to venue for heavy music in Chicago, as far as like
Yeah.
bigger mainstream acts?
That's one of them.
It's the blues.
I-
House of Blues.
Right.
I think that just has to do more with like, I guess just it sounds good there. I think the sound is great there. And just because there is a lot of like metalheads and punk rockers who are willing to go that far to see a band. And, I guess sometimes it just has to go with sales and things like that, where it's just like, how many tickets can this band sell? If we get them this venue, we're probably going to undersell it. If we get this venue, we're probably going to fucking oversell it. So I guess they just try to pick the best
Yeah.
venue. But yeah, I think I've seen I've seen a lot of great bands in House of Blues. Like I saw the Black Dahlia Murder there when back in like 2007. So
Jeez.
that was really fun.
Yeah, Isaiah and I, we used to go to Summer Slaughter there. They used to have it there every year when we were younger. We used to go every summer. It was like that metal tour that would come around called Summer Slaughter. That was awesome. I think though, like it's a lot, maybe behind the scenes. Like I feel like that venue, because there's like multiple House of Blues around the country. I feel like maybe just the venue in general has some sort of agreement with like the booking people, like Live Nation, where like they just tours just naturally tend to be there. You know what I mean?
As metalheads, not punk heads, just metalheads, because you guys, your band is more derived into metal. What venue is the best venue for metal in Chicago?
That's a hard one.
I think I would probably say Reggie's.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, for metal,
Okay.
like I mean, at least in my experience, I feel like the best metal shows I've been to have been at Reggie's.
Yeah, like for the like mid-tier bands or kind of like big bands for metal, probably Reggie's or there's been good shows at Cobra Lounge too.
Yeah.
But I mean, actually, like I prefer watching a band like in a more DIY space.
No, totally.
True.
Too.
That's fucking awesome.
Talia
Yeah,
Haw has been having some great metal shows lately.
Oh yeah, true.
That was cool.
Talia's really stepping the game up with their sound quality.
Yeah, I feel like they renovated like the whole space because there was a while where there wasn't shows,
Yeah.
and then I feel like once they like renovated whatever they renovated,
I've actually never been to Talia Hall.
it's pretty dope.
It's nice. Pretty nice.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
second
A little bit
floor.
gentrified, but it's pretty nice.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, right. It's on the second floor. It's like a balcony.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've also seen great wrestling matches there.
Really?
Oh. I didn't know they did wrestling there.
Okay, so I'm kind of into boxing, obviously.
Yes.
So I've been told back in the day, like the Aragon Ballroom also did boxing matches.
I don't know about that.
I
I've
feel like
I
never.
would be surprised.
I feel like I've
Yeah.
seen a flyer maybe like
Yeah.
once in my life.
I went to a Lucha Libre show in Congress Theater when it was still around.
Nah, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Are they gonna even fix it? Because that would be
They
great, but
they're turning it into condos. I mean, surprise, right?
Everything in the north side just turns into condos.
on Milwaukee Avenue, yeah.
It's not even cool anymore. It's
Especially
just-
on Milwaukee
yeah.
Avenue.
Yeah, that's a lot of shit at Congress Theater.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we played a battle of the bands there one time.
Oh yeah.
And
That was
Isaiah
like
and I's
the place
first
for
band.
Battle of the Bands back
Yeah.
in like
Yeah, we were like
Early
12 years
2000s.
old in our first ever band.
Yeah.
We played like at 11 a.m. and sold like tickets to like our freshman year high school buddies.
That's crazy. It was fun though. It was a good
17-hour
good
event. Huh?
experience.
Yeah, it was from like 11 a.m. Saturday
Yeah.
to like 11 p.m. Sunday.
Yeah, I
That's
see that.
nuts.
Golly.
Yeah.
Wait, so you guys were in a band together at that age?
Yes.
Yeah, we started our first. Well, yeah, in like when I was like 11, 12, I started a band with one of my friends called Nameless Motive, and but we never had a drummer really, so we were just jamming. I was on bass, he was on guitar, and then freshman year high school, my friend Homer, he went to Little Village High School, and he met Isaiah, and then he said he played drums.
And I
And
lied.
yeah, he kind of lied about it. He didn't really play drums as well as he claimed he did, but we were also barely picking up our instruments at the same time, so it kind of worked out. We just grew together. But yeah, at that moment, it was like our first like official band, I guess, and we were like freshmen in high school.
All right, let's stay in that topic for a bit. So what got you guys to learn your instrument? What inspired? What motivated you at the time?
So yeah, how I was saying when me and my friend Homer we started like jamming, we got into like new metal at first, like Korn and System of a Down, and he was just like, he's like, I have a guitar. I was like, I want to do that, and I was just like, okay, like I'll get a bass, like I want to do it too. And then we went through like a grunge phase where we got into Nirvana. And then what really changed it for me was when like I got into like metal and thrash metal, and like I discovered like Metallica and Slayer and stuff, and like the shredding and all that. Like I was like, that's what I want to do. And that alone was amazing. Like, how do they do it? Like whatever it is they do, like I need to know. And I like spent hours and hours and hours and hours like learning how to do it. And that's what made me want to do it. From there on, like we just wanted to replicate Metallica and Slayer. And then like he got into it when we met, and then that was pretty much about it.
Yeah. I got into like rock and metal because my dad. My dad was a teenager in the 80s, so he kind of like listened to like rock mexicano, nacional mexicano.
El Tri,
El Tri, El Aragán,
Aragan,
Lead and Roll,
Banda Bostik.
Tex-Tex, yeah, Banda Bostik.
You
That's
know,
my favorite.
one of the worst shows I've ever been to was Banda Bostik in Zacatecas. It was
real?
horrible.
In
that
terms of
that and Tex-Tex.
Tex-Tex, yeah.
Yeah.
Are these metal bands or heavy bands?
Urban
They're like
rock.
rock.
Urban rock. It's kind of like
Urban
Mexican
rock.
blues, but more rockish and more like DIY, lo-fi kind of tone.
Yeah. But they got some catchy ass songs. But yeah,
Lead on Roll has really emo vibes.
probably not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's
they
really
do,
interesting,
actually,
yeah.
But yeah. Well, what was so bad about that?
No, it's just the lead singer of Banda Bostik.
Was he drunk as fuck?
Yes, he was. He was. And Tex, the lead singer of Tex.
R.I.P.
Oh, well, yeah. Oh, he's dead?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, then I feel bad for saying this, but it looked like he was going through like where you lose your mind. What's that thing called?
Dementia.
Dementia. He just looked like he wasn't there.
Damn.
And it was just annoying. And then I think this is funny, but like there was other metal bands playing, opening up.
Uh-huh.
And I want to ask you this question, Ruben. Like, what's the etiquette as a singer? So you scream and you do the stuff, all that kind of stuff. So the lead singer between sets, he did not want to talk like this. He was still talking like this, but in Spanish. So he was asking the sound guys like, más bajo en el monitor, por favor. It was like, dude, this is so cringe. It was really cringe.
I mean, I feel like every singer has their own way of talking. Like, definitely in my old metal band, I used to do that where I'd keep it up, where I'd be like, this song is cold. You know, but eventually I kind of just got into this thing where I'm going to use my normal voice when I talk to people, just like with more umph. And it took me a while to realize, like, a lot of the times when I'm like guttural screaming and then trying to talk to people like that, we're like, I want to see those circle purr. It's just not like. It doesn't resonate as well as like using your normal voice and being able to shout, but being understandable. Like people could hear you and they're like, oh, he said circle pit, so we're gonna move around like a bunch of crazy guys and push each other. Yeah, I think it's up to everybody. There's some bands where I watch them and I do like hearing that, like especially when it comes to black metal bands. Where they're like, that song is the infernal hell of Satan. And I'm like, oh, that's pretty sick.
Yeah, for death metal bands, it's not that bad.
Yeah, I was
It's
gonna say
like-
there's like a few and far, but like between, but like there's some bands where like it just like it just fits their brand, their theme, like what they're going for.
Gotcha.
Death metal bands are like, the song is called.
And
Yeah,
like you know,
yeah.
so fans are into
Yeah.
it. So I mean, in like that, if it's like that specific style, like the fans are into it. So I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
So going back with your pops, so like
Yeah.
he saw that you were into it, and he just inspired you to let you play drums, or what?
Yeah, so his favorite band when I was born and stuff like that was Kiss. Like he always liked Kiss just because in the 70s and 80s they had like a cool thing going on. He always talked about they had like a movie and stuff like in the it was like a little horror movie they had, and they had like cool suits and they had like superpowers. So that was cool to him. And you know, my dad, he's like his soul is very young. Like he likes cartoons a lot still. Like he'll watch a bunch of cartoons even more than me. Like right now.
Did he let you watch heavy metal as a kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's awesome.
Once I got into school and stuff, like, because we lived in Mexico obviously, and then we came here. I just got into it because my friend, he listened to Slipknot and he put me on pretty much, and then I really fucked with Slipknot. I liked Kiss only. Well, not only, but like Kiss was like one of my favorite bands.
So Peter Criss was your guy.
Yeah. Peter Criss, he looked fucking cool, and and
Although they've had better
was-
drummers.
Oh shit!
They've had other drummers.
Two or three, right?
two.
Because there was some drama at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because of that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They didn't perform because they wanted the original four to perform, but the other two substitutes were like, we were in the band longer than those guys. We have the right to play.
Yeah.
So they all agreed not to play, just to be respectful.
Okay.
wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Well, it's yeah. Well, with them is because I think Gene Simmons and Paul are like assholes. Like when it comes to money, like to them, they're the owners of Kiss, and Ace Frehley and Peter Criss, they wanted like, I think they quit the band just because they weren't getting paid like equally, which sucks, but it happens. But yeah, and then went back to
How did it feel going from Kiss to Slipknot? Slipknot's way more dark
yeah.
and aggressive.
Yeah.
So what happened in that transition during that was, my dad had like a burnt copy of Arise Sepultura, but he didn't even know it was Sepultura. Like, it was funny. It had the name Transmetal, like on the CD, because he's like, this is Transmetal, you know, because he's Mexican. He's like, this is Transmetal. So, but it was Sepultura, Arise, and then one time I just put it on. It was scary at first because it starts off with like, you know, with an intro, like it's scary.
Like it sounds like some horror movie score.
Yeah. And it's like, ooh. It's just like scary as fuck. And I fucking put it on, and then out of nowhere, and then like the riff comes in, and it was scary as fuck. But then I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna listen to it. And then I did, and I kind of like liked it. And then time passed, and I would just listen to like everything. Like I'm really into cumbia and stuff, so that's the only thing I listen to right
As
now.
you get older, man, you start listening to that stuff, and
Yeah.
it hits different when compared to as a
Yeah.
kid, you know.
Well, my mom and my dad, they go to the Sonidero bailes
Okay.
like all the time. Well, they used to, but
Yeah.
so that's all that was playing in my household, like Sonidero and High Energy and all that shit.
Do you have a favorite subgenre of cumbia?
I really like cumbia, like the Monterrey colombiana.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
all right, all right.
Like I really like Grupo Agua Nueva Tropical.
Okay,
That's like my favorite right now.
cool.
And Yaguaru. Yeah, I think they're like the top cumbia bands for me.
That's good.
There's a lot of
Yeah, there's a
subgenres
lot.
in
Yeah,
cumbia.
yeah, there is.
I don't know anything about that.
And it's funny because it's just, I mean, you can make the argument with almost every Latin music. It's just the same beat, but for some reason, it can be so different.
Yeah. Like with
That's-
cumbia colombiana, just
Yeah.
like the way you play. Like it's crazy how different vallenato is from
Yeah.
like cumbia colombiana, even though they're both Colombian.
Mhm.
But just the way you play the accordion is just like crazy. It makes a huge difference.
Totally.
What is the cumbian beat?
It's
sound
triplet. It's a 4/4
Triplet.
beat in triplet. So and then the bass goes bum 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 bum.
Like the Beatles, Obla Di, Obla Da.
No, kinda. It's funny that
I
you
feel
say that.
insulted with him
It's kind of
saying
funny that you say that, but like I was thinking to myself about
sorry, I
this.
didn't mean
Sorry,
it
I'm a
offensive.
Beatles fan. So, do you remember "Cry Baby Cry"? Cry
Uh,
baby cry, let your
yeah.
mother sigh. The ending, at the ending of that song, where Paul McCartney starts playing the guitar, he kind of has a bit of a cumbia beat, just a little bit.
can't
Like it can,
remember exactly how
some
the
DJ
guitars-
can just mix it and make it into a cumbia beat. It's just only for like 5 to 10 seconds. All right,
Has
I
anyone
d-
matched up that beat with like heavy music yet?
dude, not
Like,
yet, not
the
yet.
Metal.
Fucking
cumbia
Danger
thing?
Mouse hasn't done that.
Somebody will.
Okay.
Maybe it could be us. No.
Yeah, we'll do it. We'll do it.
Cumbitos. Oh, that reminds me. Do you guys like Beatallica?
I've never heard them.
Oh, they're
What is that?
fan-
Is that like Beatles Metallica?
Yes.
Oh my god.
All you need is blood is one of
Oh
them.
my god.
Did Danger Mouse do that?
No, he did not.
So is it like mashups or
no, it's a band.
And they just like
Mix
I'm
Beatles
confused.
and Metallica music, but it's all metal.
right.
Yeah.
So is
Nuts.
it like Beatles riffs with like distortion or?
No, it's Metallica riffs with Beatles
Beatle
lyrics.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
And Beatles.
So
the
so
Beatles'
so
name.
so it would be
Yeah.
like you're playing like a metal riff and you're like
Like Enter Sandman is
like shout, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
like all
Twist
you need
and
is
shout.
blood.
And then but it's like metal like with a metal. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Well, you know, they kind of mix it up.
Right. Okay.
But anyways, Ruben, I want to ask you that question because you were. I saw an interview back in the day, and when you were a teenager, you played guitar a little bit, but you
I
were
suck at guitar.
But you were more into vocals. So, like, what got you into singing? What was the birth of Ruben, the metalero?
You know, it's kind of weird because like my dad and like a lot of people on my dad's side of the family like a lot of like old school rock and they like a lot of the early heavy metal stuff, but they were like, that's not heavy metal, that's just rock and roll. And it's like, no, that's Black Sabbath, that's metal. So like my dad would listen to stuff like that a lot, and for some reason I was always interested more into like the singer. They would play the Doors, and I was more interested in Jim Morrison. And it just came to a thing. Like I remember my parents got me a guitar, and I learned a few things. I wasn't really into it. I felt like I couldn't really express myself. I mean, I loved that I had it, and I was always mimicking. Like when I would watch like Slipknot or Korn, I was always like mimicking their moves on the guitar, but never really learning it. Here and there, like I did learn like a song or two, especially like a few System of a Down songs that now completely are out of my brain. But when it came to like, I've noticed when it came to bands, I was always paying attention more to the singer. And I will admit it, like I'm a very selfish person, and I like the attention. So that's why I was just kind of like, I put two and two together and got into this whole idea of like, well, I want to be in the middle. I want to be the one that everybody focuses on. So, it sounds, like, it sounds like, very like, I don't know, like cocky, I guess. But it was just like, I wasn't good at anything else. So all I had was music. All I have is music. And I think that's why I decided to be a singer, because it was easy, especially metal, right? Where all I got to do is yell, like punk rock, because now I don't even have to yell as much, but I don't even have to be that good at yelling, but I can still do it, because punk rock is like one of those genres where like you don't have to be that good at it, but it makes an impact. And I think that was like, for me, that was like the point of like, yeah, I want to be a singer. That's what I want to do. I don't even have to be good at it, because in metal and in the hardcore, you don't have to be really an operatic or like, I don't know if that's how you say it, but like, an operatic type of singer. And, but.
What about like stamina for screaming for like a whole set? Doesn't that really wear your voice out?
No, as long as you do it right. Like, it's the same thing as regular singing. You do it from your diaphragm. You don't do it from your throat or, all the sound effects come from like your mouth, not your vocal cords.
Okay.
So that's like a thing I had to learn. I remember my friend back in like 2008, he showed me the Zen of Screaming, where like the singer of like Lamb of God is in it. I think Phil Anselmo from
Is James
Pantera.
in it too?
No, I think this was more for like, he probably was in it, but I didn't see that part. But they showed me like the Lamb of God part, where like Randy Blythe like does all these exercises. He does like a lot of these cool like little things that help his voice get stronger, like with his diaphragm. And from there, I kind of just decided that's something that I would like to do as well. And I started like following like things from that video to help me out, because I didn't want to blow out my voice and then not be able to do it at all, because like I said, I'm not a very good singer when it comes to regular singing. So it's like, if I lose my ability to scream and shout, then I'm fucked.
And that makes a lot of sense, because every time I try to scream for like 2 minutes along with the song, my voice is just like shot really quick. I'm probably using my vocal cords too much.
You kind
I'll
of
learn
need
the
practice.
diaphragm.
I just recently like became a vocalist like a year ago. I joined a band and I'm the vocalist. And
Is it
yeah.
like a heavy band too?
yeah, real heavy. And at first, it was real tough. Like my throat would hurt and stuff like that. And now like.
Gotta watch that DVD. Zen of Screaming.
It's gotta be on YouTube.
You gotta
now.
borrow that DVD.
Now at my house, all day I'm just like warming up, just like just going like that, like randomly, and it's kind of helped out. And because then when I go to like practice and stuff, when I do go, it's easier to like. Because then I remember there was a time when I didn't go to practice for a bit, and then I went. But I wasn't doing this like random like warm ups at the house. I just would show up and try to practice, and I'd leave like with like talking like this. I was like, damn. But,
Okay, now I'm trying to organize this interview, because I know we can go into different tangents. Because I really want to ask you two singers about your preference between low noise, like low voices, versus the operatic, like oh kind of stuff, like like power metal,
Right.
Iron
Yeah.
Maiden.
Rob
But we
Halford.
can put that on the side. I really want to ask you guys, how'd you guys start? How'd you guys meet? Because I think that's more important.
As through and through.
yeah, it's TNT.
Okay.
yes.
Yeah. Well, we all grew up in the same neighborhood.
Like literally 2 blocks each from each other.
We're
Like both of you were childhood friends, right? Or all of you?
All of
eventually?
us are childhood
all
friends.
Of us. So me and Ruben, we knew each other
From
first.
grammar school, because we went to the same grammar
Yeah,
school,
went to the same grammar school.
and he
He was a metalhead and I was a metalhead, but we didn't know each other. But he hung out with like some other dudes, and I hung out with some other dudes. And then at that moment, he had met Guido because he had joined the band.
yeah, I was in Damnation, I think, when we were called Addicted to Morphine. And
It's
because
high
oh
schoolers,
no,
right?
no, I was in that other band, Deadly Nightshade.
Nightshade.
No, never mind. I was in a band called Deadly Nightshade, and it was like 7 of us, and we had this guy named Jerry playing drums.
Was it a new metal band?
No, it wasn't. It was actually
It's just like kids trying to put it together. Like
we can't. Yeah, we didn't know what we
Didn't have
were.
a
We just
genre.
wanted to play metal.
and so pretty much at that
Was it like
moment
ska metal?
during
Fourth wave?
during that era, which was like 2000,
5, 2006. Yeah,
like you knew me, but I was like younger, so I don't think he really like knew me like
Yeah.
that. But because one of his bandmates was my friend, that's how he kind of knew of me. And
Yeah.
then around 2007, he had a band. The name was Motorband when we were in, but I wasn't their drummer.
Was it Motorhead influence?
No. That was the one I was telling you. I started with my friend Homer, and I went to a different grade school from these guys. So I was with my other friend.
Not that far away though. But
Well, I mean,
it
yeah,
felt far away.
it was in the neighborhood, but it was like not that school.
few blocks away.
Right. So we were doing our own thing, and I hadn't met him then. And then we were trying to do some like System of a Down, like new metal kind of thing. But then we got into like Nirvana, which was like whatever, cool. So then we started doing like a Nirvana cover band, basically, like long story short. And like I'm saying, when we graduated middle school, basically became freshmen in high school, Isaiah met Homer, this dude, in their high school. And then he was like, oh, I finally met somebody who can play drums. So then that's how I met him.
But he was lying.
But he was lying. Yeah,
Did
he
you just
basically
start or
lied.
something? Or is that what you meant by
I
you were lying?
wanted to play drums, and then I forgot really, kind of, but like I told a friend of mine, Branches. His name's Branches.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, he was friends with Homer as well.
Is it Homer or Homero?
It's
Omar.
It's
With an
Omar?
It's Omar
With
with
an
an
H
H
at the
So
beginning.
it's like Homar,
Homer.
but he just
Homer.
goes by Homer, which is
Is he Mexican or Muslim?
He's
He's
Mexican.
Mexican.
Like,
But yeah, everybody called
be
him
both.
Homer.
Yeah, he's going by Homer.
So yeah, him and Branches became friends, and then I became friends with Branches freshman year, and then I don't know how or why I mentioned the Branches that I drummed or that I wanted to drum, and then he let Homer know, and then Homer was like, "Oh, we're looking for a drummer too," blah blah blah, because he was recruiting Branches to play guitars for them, and so yeah. But I had already gone to shows way before that. I started going to shows in like 2007 when I was in like 7th or 8th grade. And that's how I met Ruben. I
Yeah.
believe. He was in,
I was a freshman.
yeah. By that time, you were starting off Addicted to Morphine.
Yeah.
So you
I
guys were
remember
playing
that.
shows with Eternal Deadline.
Why
And-
that name, man?
I don't. That's the name these guys picked, and it wasn't until like a year later we decided to change it to Damnation, and we were just like, because I even like had a talk with them. We're like, why are we called this? None of us do drugs.
Was
Like,
it a pun to like you guys like the band Morphine?
I don't even know. Those guys did not like the same music as I did. Like they liked metal, but they were more like Avenged Sevenfold type of guys, while I was like Cannibal Corpse and stuff like
The
that.
good stuff.
I guess, right? But yeah, so going back to like how Isaiah said it, he was going to the shows.
At
And then-
Café Catedral.
Yeah,
when they
the
hosted
Cathedral
shows.
Cafe. on
That's
25th and
closed, right?
Christiana. No,
Oh,
it's a restaurant.
I mean, the restaurant's open, but they don't do shows there anymore.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I remember hearing that back in the day.
Oh, those were the
Those
days
are different
for
owners.
Yeah.
So they used to
Oh my
they
God.
opened up their well, now it's like a waiting area if you go now, like in today's day and age. But back in the day, like that whole back section would just be cleared out, and then they had like a little stage for shows, and then you can go there, and then the front side was still like the cafe part, but now it's just like a full on restaurant.
Yeah, those were really like, that was like our escape of what was going on around us during that time. Like growing up in the neighborhood, right? Like it was either you were in a gang, you were into sports, or you were a musician.
Or your parents didn't let you out at all.
Yeah, right.
They were like more religious based, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you just stay at home and read the Bible or something.
Pretty much. But yeah, luckily
real.
our parents, for us three, were very like, yeah, go enjoy your fucking music and leave us alone. Or at least for my case, right? Like that was my dad's whole idea. Was like, I don't care, go to shows, leave me alone.
Would you
Like-
practice in your houses where your families live too? Like,
Sometimes we would, but it wasn't. I know my parents were more like, we don't want you practicing here. Like,
Yeah.
For Name's
And
Motive,
practice is loud.
we did practice.
Yeah,
at Homer's house.
Homer,
Okay.
his parents.
We were in that bitch every day.
His-
Homer's parents
pa-
were cool then, huh?
His parents
Yeah.
were super cool. Like they,
That's awesome.
That's
they
really
drove
rare
us,
to have.
They drove us to our shows. Like
His
we
pops.
like man, like looking back, like we like lived there, and we literally like
I used to
honed
hang
our
out with them there.
honed our skills and like jammed there like at least like 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And like we were a crappy band at the time. Like when we were first starting, like we didn't know what we were doing. We were just making noise basically.
It was loud.
And like for them to and loud as hell, and like for them to put up with it, like looking back, like yeah,
For,
like they did, yeah.
Yeah, I used to go check them out and
They
hang
were
out
one
with
of-
them.
yeah, like we would just hang out there. And, like
was-
it was just like yeah, that
was
was
fun.
fun.
yeah. We'd be there every day.
Yeah,
We were like,
basically.
they're like,
Even if we weren't jamming, like
Yeah.
we were just there.
And you four are the original band members too?
no.
No, just the three of us, right?
Just, yeah.
and through and through, yeah, just the
of us.
three of us. We had a different bass player, Alex.
He's
and
still
then-
one of our best friends.
Yeah, we still hang out with him. We all grew up, like I said, we all grew up like a 2-block radius from
Yeah.
each other. It was like this block was Alex, 2 blocks away was me, 2 blocks away was Izzy, and then like maybe a little bit more, several blocks was Guido, like on 24th. So we were all just like literally like close to each other, and that's how it was so easy for us to jam and like to get together and like the same music and play. But yeah, so Alex, he left the band, I want to say 2017.
It was
Yeah.
around House of Blues.
Yeah, it was
before
around
the House of Blue show.
Yeah, he had a lot going on, and there was just a lot on our part going on where
Life happens.
we're like, hey, we're gonna be a little bit busy, and he couldn't keep up, unfortunately, because he just had like a lot going on, like personally. He
And
wasn't.
Sergio was just there at every practice
Yeah.
chilling. Because we had been friends with Sergio for a couple years by that time. Like, not that many. Like, we started being friends with Sergio in like 2014 or 15. So, but he was just there chilling with us at our practices. And so he knew the songs. So when Alex couldn't make it to practice, he just like was there. He knew the songs. And so,
Yeah, he kind of filled in at first.
Yeah, he did the first tour we did. He was a fill-in. Sergio was actually a fill-in for us, and that was actually pretty cool because Sergio's one of those people who once he's in something, he's dedicated to it. Like I remember showing up to the spot, and Sergio literally had like all the stuff that we had to take on tour like downstairs already. Like he had it all ready for us just to like put it in the van and let's go.
It's got like a military like mindset in
I-
a way.
I wouldn't call it that, but
he just likes being
Organized,
organized.
disciplined.
yeah,
you know?
disciplined and organized. Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like military is a
Not
whole
military
different
isn't
thing.
like hurry up or start yelling at you, but he just wants things to be right. And, you know,
Right.
but it's also
Right.
kind of loose.
Yeah,
you
no,
know.
Yeah.
Sergio's definitely been. It was during that time, especially, it was like a big blessing for us because, you know, for the time it felt like it was just us three running it, and sometimes it'd be hard because it's like you got these two guys writing all the music, I'm writing lyrics and taking care of a lot of other stuff, and then it just like, it's like, oh damn, we got to pick up something extra. And when Sergio came in, it was like Sergio was able to help each and every one of us, which whatever extra stuff we had to do.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was gonna ask you. How do you guys write your music? Like,
I'll let them take this.
Yeah, and
one.
then also lyrics too. Like how is it? Do you guys have like a democracy? Do you guys like he writes the lyrics and shows you the lyrics? Do you guys give him constructive criticism? Is there is there like creative differences? That kind of
very
stuff.
minor.
So me, I learned drums by just listening, like, and air drumming. I'm not like musically smart, if that's what you call it.
Although he's one of the best drummers you
Yeah,
ever
dude.
see.
I saw the 856 man. That was pretty good.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Like I said, I always had rhythm in me. Like, you know. So.
It was the cumbias, right?
Yeah, the cumbias, for sure. So, and I always like catchy stuff. Like every time I want to write something, like I want to make it catchy. Like, cause I like technical like music and stuff like that, but like I feel like catchiness, like when the song's catchy, it's just, you know, people just like it more for some reason. And so yeah, I kind of forgot where I was. Oh yeah, I'm not musically smart. Like I don't know like notes or like tunings or anything like that.
Music theory.
Music theory. Yeah.
But you know your rhythm.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
right, right. Yeah.
And so
Like if someone tells you like you can play 3/4, you can do that, or 2/4 or 6/8.
see, I don't know what that is.
Okay.
That's how.
Okay. That's just asking. I'm
Yeah.
not trying to.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's fine. But yeah,
I feel like that's when it comes to like more than the technical side, and he'll tell me what he's trying to say. I'm more on the music theory inclined, so I was like, okay, I know what you're saying. Like I understand his language. He'll be like, oh, it's like this, and he'll like mouth it out or something. Like let's do like this fast beat or whatever. I was okay, so he's like referencing like maybe we'll do 16th notes here or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's kind of our chemistry.
so like I just recently found out like a few years ago what a flam was on drums.
What is that?
Like when you go
Look-
like,
Like. Okay. All right.
I didn't know what it was called,
Okay.
and
Here,
that's
you can put your beer down there if you want.
Oh, okay, thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't know what a flam was. So I just found out like a few years ago, because we were with the producer recording one of our EPs or something, and I was like, yeah, just this, and he's like, a flam. I'm like, sure. And then
That's what it's called.
I'm like, that's what it's called, and yes, flam. And then yeah. I forgot where I was
So-
before that. Goddamn.
How
so
you guys
do
write music?
guys write the riffs
CT.
mostly? like,
Right. So
together?
I feel like the majority of the song process is I'll have some riffs and I'll present them to him, and then I'm like, okay, this is like the riff I like, and then I jam on it, we jam on it, and then it was like, okay, what do you think? And then we kind of bicker back and forth. Oh, maybe like a fast part here, a slow part there, and then I'll either have something already or we just kind of jam until something comes up. And then that's what I'm saying. He'll start putting in his input where he'll be like, oh, I think we should do like this or do that. And then this is how he was saying where he doesn't really, I guess, per se know like the terms, but he'll be like, oh, we should do like one of these parts. And like, I don't know what he's talking about in the theory aspect. And then I'll just, okay, I know he means this. And then we'll do it. And then
Or I'll
kinda
mouth it. I'll be like,
yeah. I'll be like, let's do one of these parts and da-da-da. And it's like, oh, do one of these riffs where it's like this. It's okay, like maybe like a whatever, a halftime riff or whatever, right? And then we kind of just go from there. And then it's really a lot of jamming. That's like maybe I'll say 90%. There are some songs, few, where it's like maybe like I'll just do like the whole like almost like pre-production at home. Like I have like a home studio, and then I'll just kind of write out all these riffs like on a computer, and then I'll kind of show them to him like as a demo. And then we kind of try to follow it, but then like in the process, like he'll be like, oh, maybe we should switch this part around, or like this part should be slower, faster. But yeah, for the most part, it's pretty much just me presenting the riffs and going back and forth.
yeah. And I'm never opposed to like switching shit. Like I'm not picky. Like I could play. I don't want to say whatever, but like I'm open to just changing it up. Like I don't care if like with him or with any other guitarists that I work with. Like I don't mind them like telling me what not to play or what they want me to play, stuff like that. Like everything's cool with me.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, I think that's pretty much the gist of it. It's more so like I'll have like a whole vault of riffs, and then it's just a matter of like putting them together and jamming until they fit.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 90% of the music will probably be like that. And then he'll come in and add the lyrics, obviously, after the fact.
Yeah, usually I just wait till they're done. They're, I would say 98% of the time, they're really cool with what I write. They'll look at it and be like, oh, that sounds fucking cool. And be like, I like it, I don't mind, and then I just ask them for help, like, hey, what should I name this song? I don't know what to name it, and they'll look at the lyrics and well, this sounds cool. Why don't you put that? I want to say for the new stuff that we've written out for our promo, I definitely had like a change in my lyrics where I kind of like I made them a little more simple, but I also changed like the direction of the lyrics. Like before, the lyrics were a little more direct. They were a little more like that hardcore street, hardcore in your face type of thing. And these new lyrics that I'm writing, I kind of want to do like I still want to keep writing about our struggles in the neighborhood, but what if King Diamond wrote about our struggles in the neighborhood? And that's like where now I'm writing like this like horror story going on about like how we grew up, right? And that's like when I presented it to them, they liked it. They're like, "Oh, this is cool. This is awesome. Like we don't, we got nothing bad to say about this, and go for it." That was like a big transition now with the lyrics lately, but it's like one of those things with them that I see all the time. The way they write is the way I want to make sure that our lyrics fit in. Because from them, like I said, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like I have some of the most talented band members who write like these amazing drums and riffs and bass lines, where I'm just like, man, I gotta make sure that the lyrics are as good as the music that they're writing. Because then if I'm not doing that, then what's the point? So.
Are you getting like fully completed like instrumental demos from their like practices, then writing to a 3-minute song, or do you sit in the room at practice like writing in the moment?
Both. There's times where they're just like they're showing me a new song and I'm there and I'm just like, oh man, this kind of sounds, this goes well with it. Or sometimes they'll send me, like if I didn't make it to practice, they'll send me a video, and then from there I'm like going at it, and then I bring it. The song Barrio Nocturno that we just wrote.
Oh yeah, which we heard that song on the podcast.
Yeah,
Pretty good stuff.
thank you. That's the one I think where the three of us were actually in on it for the first time.
Probably.
Yeah, that's the
that
first
might have been
song
the
where
first
all of us
song.
were there.
Yeah, we were
And,
all
like
there.
in the writing of that song, you all jammed it out together.
Yeah, it just like came
Nice.
naturally to us, and we were happy because I had like talked to them weeks prior to that, where I'm just like, maybe we should go. We're a hardcore band, right? We love anything that's heavy, thrashy, and fast, and essentially we are a hardcore band. But I kind of had this talk with them, like maybe we should go for more of a metal thing this time, just like every other hardcore band that crosses over into metal, or vice versa, and the way these guys just like brought out these riffs and drum parts was amazing. I was just like, holy shit, they're playing exactly what I had in mind. Like, it was just like we were right there, we were playing, he had some riffs in mind, and it just came together. And I was like, oh, this is great. This sounds like all that 80s like thrash metal that we like, or like the speed metal that we listened to. It was awesome.
It's funny you were saying that because I was gonna ask like what kind of metal genre you guys were looking for, because you really like Merciful Fate a lot. So I was thinking that you were gonna go into the power metal route, but when I heard it, it was more thrashy.
So
yeah,
like for me,
your reaction is like,
No,
I don't
I'm
know
just-
about
I mean,
that,
like,
man.
I'm just a thrash.
Yeah,
100%,
so-
like that's where my heart's at. But that's why I'm laughing. But yeah.
So for me, I think what is awesome, right? Because I think power metal vocals could still go into thrash metal, and obviously you just got to be a little more aggressive. I'm still one of those people. Like my all-time favorite band is Suicidal Tendencies, right? I also love Merciful Fate, so I'm just kind of like, how can I do both? And I think with the new music that we wrote, you definitely hear influences of all that. Like you hear the thrash metal stuff, the aggressive, fast thrash metal stuff. And then we can also do that, like, at least what I think, my own version of what Merciful Fate and King Diamond does, right? It worked out. I think it sounds great. The song sounds like it should have been written in, like, 1985. But, yeah.
Put some lo-fi sound effects on it.
Right? And these guys just, like I said, again, they delivered exactly what I wanted to do. Because for me, It could be speed metal, thrash metal, power metal. I love it all. You know, hardcore punk from the 80s and crossover thrash from the 80s. I think that's exactly like what we're going for. Everything that we like about fast, thrashy music.
Yeah.
What's the recording process like? Like on the new single, it's like a very, very well produced piece of music. Like the drums are really present and punchy. Was it done in a studio, or did you guys record it yourselves? Or?
Yeah, it was done in a. Is it? Well,
Well,
it's a
it's-
studio.
it's
but it's
a
like a
studio.
home studio. So like,
Like this, actually.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, just for cause I like it. It's easier. I record like, what do you call it? Through MIDI.
Yeah, with like electronic drums.
Yeah.
and it
Okay.
transforms into like a MIDI file basically, and then you can edit after the fact.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
It makes things so much easier.
Yeah.
Like, it really
It's
does.
Is it on to a click too?
Yes.
Yeah,
There's like tempo changes. I feel like in the song.
there
too,
there
aren't
are. So
Yeah, they had to
Program
figure that
it
out.
in
yeah,
into
so I guess like on a technical sense, like the process itself from A to Z would go like we lock in our tempos. I'm like, hey, like, you know, when I record like a scratch track and then to a click, and then we automate the tempo changes and whatnot, and then I'll show it to Izzy like, okay, like, you know, it's different once you hear it recorded opposed to like playing it. So once I record the scratch track to the tempos and have the tempo changes and all that, show it to Izzy, and then he'll be like, okay, like, is this like sound right to you? And then we might like bump it up or down. So then once we lock in the click track with the tempo changes, I'll go in and do guitars first with maybe like some scratch drums, or maybe if I know the song well enough, like I'll just play to the click track without drums, and then I'll have the guitars, and then he'll come in with the electronic drums and then knock it out to the click, and then the MIDI, you know, we can adjust that too after he records it, even if it's like a beat is off or something. We can adjust that, and then from there we do bass and then vocals.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. I do electronic drums because, yeah, I'm a busy
The-
ass motherfucker. So
And
like,
yeah, the MIDI, like, really, honestly, like, at first, I'm not gonna lie, when I was like younger, I was like kind of a purist, and I was like, man, like electronic drums, like triggers and all that stuff. I was like, it's whack.
Dude, technology
And-
nowadays it
right.
sounds so real, man.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I used to be like, I'm saying, I was like a kind of a purist,
still him
elitist,
playing.
and I was like, it's whack. But then, like, one, I was like, technology is advancing so fast, and two is like when you really start looking deep into like even like, let's say, like the bands you look up to, right? Like for example, this death metal band, Decrepit Birth. We had met them, and like this was a band I like almost idolized, right? And he was like, yeah, I was like, all of our albums are just electronic like MIDI drum machines, and I was like, wow, like if they're doing that, like why am I a nobody basically being super like purist about it? So I was like, you know, I was like, yeah, like. If technology, like, don't avoid technology, like, let it, you know, it's there to make your life easier, so just take advantage of that.
yeah.
All right, I got a guitar question to ask you.
Okay.
'Cause him and I, we get into a fight.
Okay.
What kind of pickup do you? Where do you? Are you a neck or bridge pickup?
Bridge pickup, Seymour Duncan.
Obviously.
Yeah,
Heavy
because he's a
music.
metal guy. He's a
For
metal guy, yeah.
for me, for like what I play,
What
I
about
mean,
solos?
solos neck pickup. So like
Okay.
if all my leads neck pickup,
Sorry, I'm a neck guy all the time.
like for everything.
Everything. I
Aw,
love
man.
neck
Well, I mean,
pickup.
in my opinion, I feel like that's why like guitars have more than one. It's like for serves their purpose. Like if I'm obviously 99% of our songs is just straight heavy riffs, right? So bridge pickup 99% of the times. But if I ever go into a lead, just swipe that switch, go into the neck, and then hit your creamy sound with the leads, and then
Your
back to the
leads,
bridge.
by the way, are awesome.
Oh, thank you.
On
Thank
your
you very
last
much.
full length, there's like sweep picking and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
thank you.
I never figured out how to do that.
Oh yeah, that was.
Was it
just-
hard to learn sweep picking?
Yeah, that was how I was saying earlier. That like was my whole summer from like 14 to 17. All my summers.
Learning how to play Eruption.
8 hours a day, like learning how to. No, for me,
Van Halen doesn't even play sweep.
for me it was like Metallica solos, like and
Death
maybe
Kirk or
solos.
Dave? Kirk or Dave?
Kirk.
Okay.
Well, I mean, his solo. He's the lead guitarist, right? So he did all solos. That and like Randy Rhoads, like Crazy Train solo. Like I spent like my whole summer learning that solo. Yeah, like that's what made me want to play guitar. Like when I saw shredding, and then I got into like the super like 80s like shredder guys, like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani and all those guys.
Do you have a favorite of those shredder guys?
Ingve was the one that like influenced me the most, that I wanted to just like copy him. But musically, like now that I can still listen to, maybe like Steve Vai, just because he has like more like ballads. and you know, like if I can listen to that to this day and age. Like when I was younger, I was just like shred all a million notes per second. Like that was cool. But like now, you know, I'm a little older. I'm like, okay, like Steve Vai makes music where it's like, you know, like ballads. I can just put that on at any time of the day, and I'm just like, all right, this is like.
Do you
this
like
guy's a beast.
Do you like Tony McAlpine?
Yeah, he's cool too.
He's really
too.
cool. He's really cool.
I mean, like I never got too deep into it, but I know like maybe like his two most popular songs. But he's really cool. And Buckethead was one of my biggest influences.
Dude,
as a kid,
he's
too.
a goat, man.
Yeah, he's
a
crazy
goat.
because he has like he has an album of like basically anything. He has an
He's
acoustic
got like
album.
600 albums.
Right, 'cause that's
Yeah.
what I'm saying. So he has an album that's more like just like straight like metal shred, and then there's one where it's like all acoustic, and it's like yeah. That,
I mean, I don't want to talk to any Guns N' Roses heads, but I think Buckethead's better than Slash.
I was just gonna say,
Yeah.
Personally, hot take.
Oh, of
I
course.
think Slash is overrated. Buckethead is way better.
Do you guys remember
on
that
record.
that Slash joke in South Park?
Mm-mm.
No.
It was basically they were making fun of Slash, saying like he's like the modern day Santa Claus, where Slash doesn't exist. Every adult acted like Slash.
Oh.
It was a really funny joke. It was so
I mean,
stupid.
I yeah,
Pull it
I
up.
get the joke. Yeah, that's a good joke. I was never really into Guns N' Roses. I just remember Welcome to the Jungle was like, okay, cool, I guess.
It was like Sweet Child of Mine was the only song I knew.
And yeah, and like
So-
as a kid, I just was like, I was like into the super fast, aggressive, like at that age, like crazy shredding solos. I was like, this music is like slow and boring, and like, how do people like this? It's not Master of Puppets, like you know.
So do you get really impatient when you listen to like drone metal or sludge
Yes.
metal?
Oh,
Even now.
I hate it. Yeah. So you see where my head is at. I mean, personal preference. No offense to people who do like it. Like I get it. You know, there's a time and a genre, and you know.
Can't do Sunno, right?
No.
Is Mastodon
No.
considered sludge?
Dude, Mastodon is a weird. I don't know where to
'Cause I
put it,
like
'cause
them.
I hear thrash. I hear progressive. I hear I hear a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I checked out
Yeah.
Mastodon. I would say they're a bit more on the progressive side.
I like Crack the Sky a lot. That album is very influential to me. But that's about it. Anything else from Mastodon, I've never given a chance.
Check the first two albums, Remission and Leviathan.
For sure. I'll check them out.
Leviathan is the reason I read Moby Dick, and I think Moby Dick is one of the greatest books of all time.
I've never read that book, but
Yeah.
I always hear it's really great.
Yeah.
Sorry, I read
So-
about Marxism and, you
Oh,
know,
dude, yeah.
not. I'm over here sounding like a snotty
No,
communist.
dude, it's okay, dude. It's funny if you're into that. Henry Melville wrote a short story called Bartleby, which is an argument about capitalism at its time. So it's really good. 60 pages, really short.
even better.
One of the weirdest and greatest endings I've ever read in a story. So,
I'll check that out for sure.
okay. Wanted to ask you guys, like, if you can give us a history of metal music of Chicago or Little Village area. I mean, I don't want to talk about Los Crudos because Los Crudos is hardcore and everybody knows
Still
Los
a great
Crudos.
band.
They're my favorite punk band of all time. But I want to know more about metal because I don't know that much. Like one of my favorite like metal bands from Chicago is Organ Failure, but they're from the north side. Maybe they're even like from the suburbs.
I think so.
Yeah.
With me growing up,
Yeah.
when I got into shows, I didn't even know like Chicago had a north side scene, a south side scene, nothing. Like, I just started going to shows at Café Catedral, and that's how I found out like about our local bands and stuff like that. And to me, that was like those were like for a few years, like those were like the only bands that I would listen to, like besides like the bigger Kiss and Slipknot and System of a Down and stuff like that. And but yeah, for Little Village, like the Little Village scene only in particular, like yeah, there was like Ruben's bands, and there was also Eternal Deadline,
White Horse Inertia.
White Horse Inertia,
Orphan.
Kill for a moment.
Kill Media.
Peter, is it okay? Just want to make sure that I don't want to. All right, perfect. Okay, because I don't want to like I don't know where the sound gets bad.
Kill Media, Orphan,
Orphic. Yeah, it was like
Orphic, Blue Buddha,
Sex for Less.
Sex for Less, yeah,
There's a lot of great bands.
for real.
It was a lot of fun. They were all different. Like White Horse Inertia was more of like this like Deftones American Head Charge, like new metal influence, and there was Eternal Deadline that was like a little more on the melodic death metal side, but we didn't really like know what that was at that time.
They're like their own style. Like
Yeah,
they had like their own sound.
but they were really great. They were good friends of ours.
They're my favorite band.
Yeah, they were good friends of ours. Growing up, like looking at those guys, it was really cool. We idolized those guys. We were like, one
Yeah,
day
we
we're gonna
really
play
did.
Cathedral Cafe. That was like up here
Yeah,
for us
for
playing
real.
Cathedral
Yeah, I
Cafe.
think for us, like if we like quote like headlined the Cathedral Cafe show, like for us that was like the ceiling at that
Yeah.
time.
That was crazy.
Did
That
you
was-
guys play at Casa Slan?
No.
When they played shows there? Okay.
Where was that at?
It's like right across Honky Tonk.
Oh,
Okay.
on 18th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Probably
Like I said, like ours,
Oh, I
our
know what you mean.
our mind was, I don't want to say we were closed minded, but like we only knew like Little Village scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we were like we were exposed to like the whole city. Like I didn't really find out about like other scenes within the city until I started playing like the more hardcore stuff. Was like through and through.
Yeah, that's when we figured out, well,
Like-
there's something more outside of our neighborhood. And it made us like our neighborhood even more, to
Yeah.
be honest.
And that's the thing. Like growing up, you know, a lot of like teenagers don't realize like there's more out in the world than just like the neighborhood. It's crazy.
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't start going to the Little Village scene like shows even till like after my freshman year when my friend Homer that I was saying earlier, he went to Little Village High School. I went to school on the north side, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I got invited to like this metal show like down the street," and I was like, "What? Like there's a metal show down the street? Like what?" And then I went and he took me, and then that's where I met Isaiah actually like for the first time formally. And I was like, what? I was like, people are into metal around here? Like, at that time, prior to that, like, literally me and my friend Homer, we thought we were, like, the only metalheads, like, within, like, maybe, like, a 20-mile radius, you know? And, like, it was just, like, crazy to see. So then when we found people, like, you know, there was a scene in Little Village, we kind of just hung on to that. And going from there, we thought that was the only scene. And then, you know, we kept evolving. It's like, wow, there's actually a whole city worth of, like, metal music or whatever, and then you know, so on and so forth. It's crazy.
Remember when we found out about Demolition in the north side?
Yeah.
Those guys they're pretty talented kids, man, at that time.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to them. I think we just, like, growing up, we just lost touch, but that was, like, one of the bands.
I think they disbanded and then just like
They're probably just
They
doing other stuff.
became dads
did
and
their
stuff.
own thing. Yeah. But I mean that's one of the first bands that invited us to play it kind of outside the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Did you guys feel scared when you had to play outside? Like not scared, but like a bit intimidated, and had to show like we're tough guys.
I wouldn't say tough guy. I think it was just more so like
Will they even care about
almost
us?
like
That-
yeah. I think it was more like damn, like is this like we're gonna make it because we're like finally playing outside of our area. Like
Yeah.
you know, it's like just breaking out of your comfort zone, almost in a literal sense. You know?
But it's crazy because it's still the same city, but it's such a culture shock when you play outside of like Little Village or outside of the South Side, because it's like I remember like for
And
the
that's just because
bands-
Chicago's so segregated.
Yeah, I remember like for the bands that I was in, like I think Damnation had played for the first time like somewhere in Indiana. Like it was like between Indiana and Chicago. So I think it was like East Chicago. And I just remember people like not caring who we were. Like people were literally there just for the headliner that it was from their area. As soon as we were done, people were like started coming in the venue, and I was like, "Well, that sucks." Like, you know, like no one cared for the other bands besides.
But once you
the
guys played
headliner.
Little Village, packed fucking
Yeah, like
packed show.
we've been lucky. Like for us, when we would play the Cathedral Cafe again, that was the standard. I think both of our bands got to headline at least once or twice the Cathedral Cafe, and
Yeah.
it was always a good turnout. Like I remember Nameless Motive's first show at the Cathedral Cafe, and just kind of being jealous because I was like, man, I didn't even get a mosh pit with my first show here. Like no one even, like people were there, but they were just looking at us trying to figure out like who we were. They played their show, and people were moving around. And then I remember we would have like these talks like, hey, don't expect everybody to move around at your first show.
Yeah.
But they had people moving around, and then they were also playing thrash metal, which at the time was kind of unknown in Little
Yeah,
Village.
this was during like the scene kid. like
Yeah,
era,
like
so a lot of people were into that music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we were
Yeah.
like the super total opposite, like metalheads, like we hate emos and all this stuff. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was a trip. Like getting to play those shows was pretty cool, and I think like being the metalheads that we were, we found a place where we could all relate to each other. There was also Unknown Destruction, which is another great band.
Cannot believe I missed them.
Yeah, there were those guys were kind of like taking over for Deadline. So, because Deadline, they were kind of getting older, busier with their jobs, busier with real life, and then Unknown Destruction was coming in, and they were kind of like, people were legit, really getting into them.
Yeah.
But eventually the scene kind of died.
I feel like everyone was in the same age group and they all kind of grew up at the same time, and none of them like really like. I don't want to say cared to keep it going, but just maybe life really just hit for a lot of people.
What really like fucked it up was when like Cathedral stopped having.
And
Yeah.
Cathedral stopped having shows, so it just like
Yeah.
Was it like ownership, like different owners?
yeah,
Yeah,
they got
pretty
different
much.
owners, and like
Happens
even
a
like
lot.
I'm saying, like even now to this day, it's just like a full on restaurant.
Cause right after that, we didn't have anywhere to have throw shows in Chicago, in Little Village.
We're doing like backyard
Yeah, we were
shows.
just doing straight up backyard shows. Like,
Did you guys have like competition with other metal bands from other neighborhoods, like Bridgeport versus Pilsen versus?
Oh, the band's by the
Ukrainian
Curie.
Village.
No, I mean, I don't want to toot Little Village's horn, but we were having the shows in Little Village, the backyard shows. Word was getting out enough that we started getting bands from outside of Little Village coming to play in Little Village.
Yeah.
Snap.
yeah,
All right.
So like I remember like we had like some like you remember like when Act of Destruction came by, they were from like I don't know where, they're from the
Right.
suburbs, but like they were pretty big at the time. It was like
Beneath
this
the
metal
Flesh.
band, Beneath the Flesh. They were like another big metal band, but these guys were from like almost like Rockford or like Wisconsin, and they were started like, oh yeah, we hear about Little Village like backyard shows, is like cool. So like we started like getting bands from outside of the neighborhood coming into the neighborhood.
We
Yeah.
used to fit like almost 200 kids in the
And, like,
yard.
yeah,
and
it
people
would be
just
like-
pushing
So
the
during
shit
that-
at each
sounds
other.
during
fun.
that time when Cathedral was like dead, we had backyard shows. But then we also had heard of shows going on by like Midway, some in like Bridgeport and stuff like that,
Like all the
Pilsen.
irony.
in Pilsen.
Remember those bands? All the irony goes
Yeah.
to Poseidon.
And that was around the time. That was around the time when a lot of these bands were playing like like deathcore, screamo, stuff like that. But we were thrash kids, so that was kind of like the rivalry. We were like, oh fuck them, they play breakdowns and shit, and we're like, we only want circle pits. We don't want none of that karate dancing and stuff like that. We were close-minded metalheads, so like
Yeah, we were.
so that was kind of like the competition that was going on.
Yeah,
that-
like, it wasn't location specific.
Yeah.
I guess,
Yeah.
if
And
I'd
it
say.
was never like a malicious thing where it was just like, we're going to make sure your band doesn't play. Or
Yeah, it was never.
It
malicious.
was just kind of like we'd show up and be like, we're real metal. And
Yeah,
they're
like-
what? We don't
Without being
care.
unsaid, we were just like, it was just like funny as hell. Like the flyers would be like, like Ghost of Poseidon, Oceanic Abyss, Nameless Motive, Damnation, and just Sex for Less and just shit like that. Like it was
Just
a mix
random.
of genres.
Yeah.
So like, if you pulled up, these shows are fucking $5 BYOB. Like
Those were the days, man.
dude,
$5.
we were all fucking
Drunk.
teenagers, just
Yeah.
Drunk teenagers.
yeah. And then going to fucking shows and shit. So like we would just pull up. Everybody has their own clique. So
Yeah, like yeah.
if you watch the band that you've never watched before and you fuck with them, then cool, fuck it. Like, and that's how we met a lot of the people like around Chicago, and that's how we know a lot of people now because of those shows that were happening in between those years. And then right after that, those backyard shows, in like 2014 or 15, maybe in 13, Jurassic Park opened up a venue,
Okay.
well, a backyard
Yeah.
in Little Village, close to our house, close to where we used to live. And yeah, they were just hosting shows every weekend because it was like a indoor spot where it wouldn't get rated because obviously some shows like after they would get rated like at 10 and stuff like
10
that. Cops would
p.m.
pull up and be like, you guys are having shows fine, like just lower it down or fucking stop playing.
How do you lower
But
metal?
really 11. Like we're like, all right, fuck it. We're like, oh, there's only one band left. Like it's 11. Like we know. So and then there was parties after that.
Okay.
But so like Jurassic Park, kind of like helped, like shows go on a little bit longer just because it was like it had an indoor. The garage was like an indoor thing.
Yeah, they did. They had this crazy setup where like the garage was like connected to the yard, and it was all like covered, so it was like one big like just space. But it was really like a backyard / garage.
Yeah, it was
But
pretty
like
fun.
it's crazy, yeah.
And that's kind of like that's around the time when Through and Through started playing shows, because we never before that we didn't have, like I said, we didn't have like a home venue or anything like that. We were just playing any backyard show or any show at any warehouse like somebody would throw.
And then you had to wait till the summer to actually play shows.
Yeah.
If you got lucky and you might play a venue outside of Little Village, but if you wanted to play in Little Village, you basically had to wait for the summer to start.
Yeah.
And so
It's funny you say that because I prefer winter shows and summer shows because it's always cold outside, and then once you're inside, it's warm.
And everybody wants to be inside.
Yeah, and then in the summer shows, it's always hot, and you're always going to be miserable.
well, that's
Yeah.
why summer shows are good. Like and backyard shows were good in the summer because everybody was outside.
Yeah.
Like you know, we had some good ass shows because everybody wanted to be outside. And if we had a show in the summer at a venue, like that shit dead, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I want to say, I think after that, well, I was just piggybacking off of him. Like, I think at that point, then everybody who was still in the scene was old enough to go to bars. So then when Through and Through started, and we kind of made the transition from like backyard shows to playing more like venues or bars. Everyone was of age. So
Yeah.
that helped.
Yeah.
Thankfully, yeah, when Through and Through started, like Jurassic Park, obviously is somebody's house in the backyard, so like
That helped us out a lot.
yeah, the indoor part of it, like there was shows in the winter and stuff like that, so like it was cool. A lot of our earlier shows were at Jurassic Park, and it was easy for us because it was right there by our house, so like we were playing shows fucking.
We would literally just
every
walk it
weekend.
there.
Yeah,
We'd be like, I'll meet you there at.
Yeah, I literally was like, yeah, I'll walk over there with my guitar.
like I said, everybody was throwing shows there. People were hearing about Jurassic Park too. Like
it got super popular.
yeah.
There was.
Like, where I used to live, it was like, yeah, like down the street. So it was like on a random Saturday, I'm just like, I'm bored. I'm gonna walk down the street and see what's going on at Jurassic Park. And then I walk into like an awesome show and like meet a million people, and I was like, oh, that was great.
It was just packed all the time.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
But
And then yeah, the owners just stopped having shows and shit. They were low key charging a lot too.
yeah, they're
Really?
charging like to throw a show there. What was it like? They were trying to charge like 700.
Yeah. At first it was like 150, and then it went up to like 2, then
I
250.
think,
But you get your money back though, right? If you get a lot of
like if you sell,
yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
that was what happening. They saw that a lot of, you give them their 300, 200 or whatever, and then they'll be like, damn, they're making more money though. Like what the
I was gonna
fuck?
say, but the Marxism comes out of me. Like, why couldn't they just be equally shared, or no, or not equally, like fairly shared
right?
in that sense?
Yeah, I think the owner just, I guess, more so, I don't know. He like wanted more than what he thought he
Because
deserved.
also
I
the
don't know.
bands had to get paid, and he felt like the bands didn't need to get paid that much.
Yeah, that was another thing too,
Corruption
because
right
like
there.
that venue like became such a like a known spot that the last shows I remember we were like bands from all over the country, even the world.
Europe.
Like we like
European
there was
came
bands
to
from
play
Europe to play at this backyard.
Hardcore bands.
You know what I mean?
What was it?
Like,
CDC?
CDC,
Yeah, from like
played-
Belgium, like
Surge of Fury.
literally bands from all over the world were playing in this backyard.
the beautiful people played there, right? Like
Yeah.
The beautiful ones, yeah.
The beautiful ones. Yeah.
They like
Never
like
listened
like
to 'em.
faint like at that point like basically famous bands from all over the world were coming to this backyard, right? So then the owner was just like, well, I need to charge X amount, right? And then for the promoter, I guess from the promoter's side of view was like, that's too much. Like for the price he was charging, basically at the end of the day, it's still a backyard. Like sure, it has like prestige or whatever, but like he started charging more than like let's say Reggie's or like a huge like quote unquote professional venue.
Yeah.
So then people were like, dude, if you're charging that much for a backyard, we'll just go have a show at House of Blues or something.
Yeah.
For the amount he was charging. So I guess at the end of the day, it was like money got involved and it got to his head, and people just stopped wanting to go there.
Yeah.
I think for a while after that, he just started throwing. He started throwing raves.
Yeah, like
and-
random
Yeah, and they
party
start doing like
raves.
rave, like late night raves, and then that involves a lot of underage, and then like the crime, or I don't want to say crime, but like what comes
A
with
lot
like,
of OD.
underage- what comes with underage drinking and drugs and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So
But then at that moment when those parties started happening, like we were already like 21, so
yeah,
We
and
s-
that's what I was saying. Like by
Come
that
back.
point, we had already transitioned into like playing venues and bars, and luckily, like the people who really supported us were of age as well. So by then, it was like we
Yeah.
kind of, I don't want to say we moved on because we'll still play a backyard show to this day, but like we were focused more on that at that time.
yeah. We were doing like one out of state one-off shows
Yeah,
and shit
like-
like that.
That's when we finally started going on tour and like playing like quote unquote
Yeah.
legitimate venues.
And yeah, we're probably like the only band from Little Village that is still active.
Yeah.
From like, yeah, back in the day.
Yeah, when all that stuff died out, Jurassic Park and stuff, like all those bands kind of just
Yeah.
died out.
Yeah. But luckily, I hope to see more shows there, but it just depends on the kids who got into. Luckily, we've been seeing for us where like kids are putting our stickers in the high school.
Yeah.
Like I saw that picture that you posted that
Yeah.
I guess some kids that went to our show, like they took
Yeah.
stickers from us and they were posting it in their high school. And
That was
so
fucking cool.
Yeah.
One of my friends that works there, she told me, and she was like, "Is this your band?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Where'd you see this?" She's like, "Oh, I work at Little Village High School." So
Oh, that's cute. It's circular.
Yeah, it came full circle, right?
Yeah.
I was
So-
like, "That- that's
crazy.
So
fucking
hopefully,
awesome."
hopefully these kids are inspired to do more hardcore punk and heavy metal shows.
I have hope for the future because
Yeah.
there's a lot of more diversity compared to what it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
I mean, yeah, the way the culture shifted for like the younger kids, it's crazy in a good way.
Like
Yeah.
in a great way. It's
Like,
fantastic.
it's like wow. Like when I was that age, I was not thinking the way those kids were thinking.
Yeah, you were the only POC in a room full of
Right,
white
and I was just
people.
okay.
Yeah.
This is like in my head. Always thought I was like, this is how it's supposed to be. I mean, that's a bad way of thinking. But like as a kid, I didn't know.
That
any
was the
better.
norm,
Right, exactly. And like now, I was like, no, like it doesn't have to be this way.
Yeah.
And like for kids to be thinking that at that age, like that's awesome.
Yeah. The other cool thing is that like we've been a band for 9 years now. We've gotten to do some pretty cool stuff, and hopefully like these guys that listen to us or these people that listen to us in the neighborhood, they see that like, oh wait, they're still like 'cause, in June we have a tour coming up, East Coast tour, and then in July we're setting up another tour as well for like late July. Hopefully they see that and they start picking up like, hey, well they could do that, that we could do that, especially for like a Mexican band, right? Like we're these brown kids from Little Village that people don't expect too much to get anywhere because that's just always something that people think about, like brown and black bands. Like they're just playing in their neighborhood. They're not really serious, which is like, no, a lot of these bands are serious, and hopefully kids see that not just because metal and hardcore is more like I guess more white people play it and stuff like that, but there is a big amount of, I feel like there is more Latinos than anything in the hardcore and heavy metal scene. And hopefully this pushes these kids to like, hey, we want to start bands. We want to play shows in our neighborhood. We want other bands to come into our neighborhood. So hopefully like they see that, oh, this band full of Chicanos, this band full of Mexican American kids, we're not kids anymore, right? We're adults, but hopefully they go, these Mexican American guys are doing it. So can we, and that goes for like brown women too, because there's a lot of awesome brown like women in bands. I don't want to say female fronted because that's just not something you say. It takes away from takes away from like how great bands are when they have someone who's a woman fronting the band. But yeah, like for women who are brown, guys who are like men who are brown, LGBTQ who are brown, like I hope that when they see our band doing things like that, it pushes them to do it too, because
Hey, you're also giving them a safe space,
yeah,
Yeah, it's really one thing I was gonna say on that was like going. I didn't really like you always kind of hear, oh yeah, they're like a brown band, Little Village, right, Mexican band, and I was like, oh whatever, like that's just who we are. But I didn't realize like how much it affects or like how much like people take it until we started like going on the road and going on tour. Cause like when we play smaller cities, it's really crazy because we'll play and there'll be like maybe one kid in their whole scene that's brown, and they come up to us and like, yo, like, you know how crazy it is to see a fully brown band. Like, I thought I was the only brown kid in all of hardcore in the whole country or something like that.
That's
Like, you know what I mean? And we're like,
That's
dude,
really
like, damn,
fucking
that's
happened.
crazy.
Dude, imagine in the 80s, man. That was
Exactly.
a thing, too.
So like yeah, like kind of like I don't want to say it's normalized here, but like, you know, I was just kind of like, yeah, whatever, you know, we're from Little Village, I get it. But when we started going out there and like those kids telling us like, man, like you guys are the first all brown band I've seen in person ever or in my life or whatever, that's when I'm like, oh, so like damn, like this really does have an impact. Like keep it up.
Even
like,
if it's small to us, that means a lot.
yeah.
Okay, I got 2 more questions, and I'm set unless you have more. But
We can go as long as y'all
yeah,
want.
but like, so I got
I'll
2 questions.
think.
But you know, maybe you can think of something when it comes into space. But like, I think I'm good after that. But okay. So question 1: Has Mexican music inspired you guys as a band, and if so, how?
Oh, for me, definitely. I feel like when you mean Mexican, do you mean like Mexican metal or just Mexican music in general?
Over everything in general. It can be
So-
Mexican metal too, but I'm just saying like music made by Mexicans.
Yeah, so I would say for me, like one of my biggest influences for music that's not heavy metal and it comes from Mexico, I would. Man, there's like a band that I listen to a lot that's from Mexico, and there was just a lot of artists. Like, I mean, she's Chilean, but like Mon Laferte, you know, that's something that's a
That's
big
surprising
influence.
to hear that from you, man.
Well, like, I love the way she structures her music. She adds like Latin folk into it, and she does have a lot, like, because she lives in Mexico now, she adds a lot of Mexican music into her, you know, like catalog, and I think that's, for me, that's really cool. You know, obviously I love Vicente Fernandez, like Hijo del Pueblo, right? That's always been a big influence on me because it's like, well, you know, I'm the son of my neighborhood, and that song he's talking about, the day that his neighborhood fails him is the day he's gonna cry, and that's how I could relate to that, right? Like, man, the day my neighborhood or I fail my neighborhood is the day I'm gonna cry, and it's just like stuff like that was like influential for my lyrics, even though they come out a little darker, more aggressive. So stuff like that. Natalia Lafourcade, like I love her music as well because it's very like to the core Mexican. You know, it might not be mariachi, but like she gets into like these old school, like before it was mariachi, right? She like adds those elements into her music, and I think those are probably like artists that are my biggest influences when it comes to Latin and Mexican music. You know, but I could go into like other Latin artists that aren't Mexican, like Victor Jara. That was one of my favorite.
we talked about before.
Yeah, that's like one of my all-time favorite musicians, and like his political lyrics have been an influence on like the stuff that I kind of spit out like politically, right? Yeah, like I wouldn't consider through and through a political band, but we're definitely influenced by like the street politics, the local politicians, and like police brutality around us, right? You know, obviously we want what's fair for everybody in the neighborhood or outside of the neighborhood, but I feel like Victor Jara and stuff like that is like, I can relate to it because I'm seeing it within where I grew up. So yeah, I'd say those artists outside of heavy metal are a big influence on me.
How about you guys?
There you go, Huggy.
Not like musically, not really. But I think that more so stems from like, I was like, okay, like that's who I am. And like when I first got into like metal and all that, I was like, I didn't really see it. So almost like at that age, you know, he's like, you want to fit in, right? So I almost feel like I like blocked it out and like tried to like not acknowledge that side of me. And I was like, okay, like I'm just gonna try and be Metallica or try and be like Slayer. And then when I got older, obviously, you know, you realize who you are and your identity comes full circle and whatnot. And like, I mean, I like it, but like musically, no. I feel like when I started, like I was just trying to be like Metallica and Slayer and whatnot. And I was just like, I just stuck to that. So
Well, Metallica has a Filipino and a Mexican.
I
so
mean,
there
right?
you go.
Yeah, right. I mean, that probably counts for something. But like, no, for like, I
Yeah.
guess identifying musically, no, not really.
Yeah, I've never really heard him like listen to Mexican music like that.
And I mean, like I
He
know
does,
it, like
he
like
does.
I know it, and like I'm saying, but I think when I was
Yeah.
younger and I was like trying to like focus, like what made me want to play guitar, I was like, I think I kind of like put that to the back because I was just like, oh, I don't see any other like Mexican people playing music, metal music. It's like I'm just gonna try and follow this, and then like maybe now as an adult a little bit, like now I'm like obviously more comfortable and like I know who I am and my background and whatnot, but not too much. I wouldn't say too much, to be honest.
Yeah, with me, yeah, no, like I said earlier, I grew up in my household like listening to cumbia like straight up, like
Because when I was listening to that new single, I hear a lot of norteña, like a lot of polka.
oh
Yeah.
okay, like
Unta, kind of thing.
oh okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So,
Like,
so I thought
well,
I thought you were kind of like more into the like Tigres del Norte, but you just wanted to play it a little bit faster, kind of thing.
yeah, that's more of a thrash beat.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I like Tigres del Norte. And
Maybe that's why I like thrash. I like Tigres.
There you go.
yeah, he'll listen to corridos a lot
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
So
Tumbaos, you guys into Tumbaos right now?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, man. Those-
kind of, yeah.
the new kids, man, it's good stuff.
If I hang out with the crowd, well, I have some
Yeah.
friends who are like
Yeah.
heavy into that, and like if
Yeah.
they put it on, like I'm never gonna be like turn it off. Like I'll jam with it, but
Yeah.
I'll never like.
Yeah.
We really listen to
My
everything.
thing, you know?
Like we adapt to whatever's
Gotcha.
like what people listen to around us and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
We got people that don't. We know people who are friends with people that don't even listen to metal like that.
Yeah, no, that's
And we put metal on, and they like it.
Yeah.
But
Or like they'll come out to our shows and like, damn, like I don't really like metal, but like you guys like
stuff.
you guys jam. Like I was vibing or whatever,
Right.
you know. And
yeah.
like, oh, that's a good compliment. Like
Yeah.
you quote unquote don't listen to metal, but if you listen to us
Yeah.
and you like it, then I'll take it.
Yeah.
yeah.
a
But like,
good feeling.
yeah, I just listen to cumbia a lot. What else? I would listen to a lot of like late '90s Mexican pop because my mom listened to that shit too.
Like Thalia?
Nah, like Sentidos Opuestos, OV7,
I was
Okay.
about to say
Onda Vaselina,
Okay, okay.
stuff like that.
Wow, that's
Faye,
funny.
just
That's
stuff
hilarious.
like that. Yeah, so just a bunch of stuff like that. Like Mecano, they're
Yeah.
not Mexican, but
Yeah.
like Mexicans love Mecano.
Paulina Rubio?
Not really. My mom didn't fuck with Paulina Rubio. I was just like,
My mom likes Paulina Rubio.
My mom didn't really like Thalia either. She liked like Onda when they were known the Vaselina, but like she didn't like or Timbiriche. I mean, they were in Timbiriche, right? Yeah.
I haven't heard that in a long time.
Timbiriche.
All right, my last question is, I don't know, it's just I'm curious. Why is it? I'm assuming like is your name through and through? Is it related to AC/DC? And if that's the case,
God, no.
no,
God,
no,
no,
hold on.
no,
Let me
no,
finish.
no.
Let me finish. And if that's the case, what is it with Mexicans liking AC/DC? Because there's another Mexican band that it's also an AC/DC reference, ACXDC. They're from from California, and I think I don't know if they're all Mexican, but I know one of the singers is Mexican.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering, like, is there like a what's with the love? Because I went to Mexico City just a month ago, and they were playing AC/DC, and I'm like, this is great. I love it.
All right. First off, well, I got you. We always got a ACDC question like a podcast we do. It's funny because I was not expecting it to come out today this time.
It's been a
But
while.
we fucking hate ACDC.
Really,
Yeah.
dude? Wow.
I was about to say like, I might as well not be Mexican. You said Mexicans like AC/DC. I was like, but dude, it's
Yeah,
great.
we're not.
I
Yeah, we're
cannot stand
like,
AC/DC.
Only song I could listen to from ACDC is like Dirty Deeds, done dirt cheap.
Well, I'll say this. For me, what it is, like one of the things that attracted me to like thrash and metal and whatnot was authenticity. Like they weren't putting on like a gimmick. They weren't like dressing up, putting on makeup. AC/DC is a very gimmicky band. The whole school outfit and like just dancing around. I always took that as like they're masking their music because I personally, this is my opinion, whatever. I don't think the music was that good.
It's the
I still don't think it's that good. And like they put a lot of theatrics behind it to like I would say to cover it up. Granted, this is my opinion, and that's how I always felt about it. I never liked it. It was never for me. So like when I saw like these metal guys who I identified with who were just wearing jeans and a t-shirt and they were like playing the best music I had heard at the time of my life, I was like, wow. See, these guys don't even need makeup. They don't need like a whole pyrotechnics. Like they're just jamming.
But he likes Kiss.
Well,
See,
yeah,
like,
that's
see,
what I'm
like,
saying.
it's like
No,
the
yeah,
yin,
he likes
but
it,
the
yeah.
yin and the yang
I'm
of
speaking
it.
for myself.
I know,
Yeah,
no,
that's
but
what
it's
I'm
so
saying.
weird that you say that. But like, you guys still have a band.
Yeah, that's
when you
crazy,
have
yeah.
the polar
Yeah,
opposites
isn't that
of,
crazy?
like,
Yeah, yeah.
of your roots.
And
We
yeah,
both hate ACDC. So
but we both hate
Yeah.
ACDC.
I'll listen to like
I'm with you
Hell's
guys, I
Bells
hate 'em
or
too.
Dirty
Good,
Deeds.
good.
Like
There's a
Thank
few
you.
songs I
guess
can listen to them for, but I'm
that's
not a big
my
fan.
like. I thought about it too because like people always ask me like how he was saying. He's like people do ask, and it got to the point where I was like, damn. I was like, why? Like I know I'm very passionate about me like not liking them, but I had to like reflect and be like, why don't I like them?
Yeah,
And now I really know. Like yeah, like it was too like gimmicky. It's too much based on theatrics. Like if I want to watch theatrics, I'll go watch a play.
the
or something.
vocals.
The vocals are
They're
too
good.
good. I was like, dude, if I want a good band, I'm gonna go to a good band. Like their music's not that good.
yeah, it's for me. I feel like it's the same 3 chords over and over, and it's not that like you could say that about punk rock music, but punk rock is good when it's fast,
yeah,
right?
And that's why you guys like thrash because it's a little bit more
Yeah.
technical.
Yeah.
And maybe if
More
he switched his vocals like the vocal is.
No, the lead singer died, and then they replaced it with a new
What was that
one.
guy's name?
Okay.
Brian Jonestown is a new one. I forget the
Wait.
first one.
Wasn't
Scott?
Axl
Bon
Rose
Scott. Bon
going
Scott.
back?
But if you listen to a song by Brian Johnson, he's a
Yeah,
recent vocalist.
Jonestown, yeah.
Okay.
Or something like that. I
If you
forget.
listen to an album
Not a
by
fan
them,
of him. Not a fan of him.
Yeah, if you listen to an album by them then, when he was in the band, and now, like, I tried listening to the one they dropped in like 2008 or something like that, like
Yeah,
Aces
not-
or something like that. I was just like, it sounds like a fucking, one album they made like back in the day. Like, it doesn't sound no different. So I'm like, if he switches his vocals a little bit, maybe, because I mean, their most popular songs, they got catchy riffs.
Back in Black.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Thunderstruck, Thunderstruck, and all that.
So the way our name, like, I'm gonna get into the whole
Yeah,
the
go.
way the name.
But
comes
I
from.
was hoping it was an ACDC influence.
No.
Everybody, that
TNT.
Hate to burst your bubble.
Yeah, no. So the way
But actually,
through
I
and,
don't hate it. No.
the way through and through came was
I'm glad I burst your bubble. No.
so the way the name came was I got like really into a lot of like hardcore music like Terror, Agnostic Front, Madball, and a lot of these lyrics that these bands were like bringing out, like Agnostic Front being one of my all-time favorite crossover bands. There's like a part where he's saying we're warriors through and through. So I'm like, oh, I like that through and through saying. Then Terror had a song called Relentless where they kept saying relentless through and through. And then Life of Agony had the song called Through and Through. And then I like Life of Agony a lot because to me they were more of a metal band that was accepted into the hardcore scene. So that's why I like Life of Agony a lot. And then when I met up with Guido, I'm like, yo, I've been having this saying because we met up about like, hey, maybe we should form a band together.
After Nameless Motive.
Uh,
That's a history.
yeah.
Yeah, so going back that first band I had with Homer and him, Nameless Motive, we did shows for a few years. He did Damnation, how he was saying, for a few years, and then Nameless Motive broke up. Homer, he kind of just basically wanted to drop out of the scene, being an adult or whatever, right? So that happened, and I was still jamming with him, and at that time I was getting into hardcore aside from thrash, and he was doing his thing, but he was into hardcore, but Damnation wasn't really doing hardcore. Yeah. So I had told Izzy, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of getting into this hardcore stuff. I would probably like to jam on some hardcore stuff. And he mentioned it to Ruben, and when he mentioned it to Ruben jumped on the idea, like, instantly. He called me up, he's like, hey, I heard you want to do hardcore, let's jam. So then we all jammed, and then it just like meshed from like day one, and we're like, let's see what happens. And then
You used to met up first.
yeah, we met up first, talked about like, oh yeah, I'm listening to Terror, I'm listening to like Turnstile. I was like, I'm getting into it, but because I have a background in
Turnstile
thrash.
was a band back then.
Yeah, they were
like
they were
the
originally a
2014.
hardcore band.
Their first EP, like what is it called? Step to Rhythm,
Yeah, Step to Rhythm.
and like came out like, cause yeah, this was like a few years after. This was like 2012, 2013, right when our first band, Nameless Motive, was like breaking up, right after high school. And yeah, Turnstile was like they had just came out with their EPs, and they were like, to me, they were like super awesome. I mean, they still are super awesome, like hardcore, those EPs. And like I got into Terror and like all like the bigger hardcore bands. And I told him, and we kind of talked about it, and we're like, yeah, let's jam. Like that's what I'm into right now. And then yeah, meshed from day one. All three of us jammed, and it was like, let's see what happens.
yeah.
And then
You didn't have a bass player at the time.
No, it was just us three. Just just kind of jamming. Like I'm saying, I had riffs in the vault with him from.
Was it a drop C tuning or drop A?
I play in D standard.
Okay.
Or
To this day.
mastered
The way
on,
you
I
should
think.
play.
Yeah. To this day, I like standard tuning. I never really like drop tuning.
Yeah.
We played in my old band, and I was like, that's okay. But like, I kind of like the just
Do you like Johnny Five? Is that his name? Johnny Five?
John 5.
John Five.
John
No, I mean, I don't want to say like, nah. I'm just not like. I have nothing against them, but yeah, I checked them out, and it just like never really did anything for me. So I was just kind of like whatever.
But yeah, basically the name, I had brought it up to him, and I'm like, I've been having this saying like stuck in my head because I was really getting into like these like bro hardcore bands. We're not even bro hardcore bands, but guys who were
Weekend
always
Nachos.
talking. Yeah, Weekend Nachos.
Yeah, they were
you
one of
know,
the first bands that I got
we
into.
were, yeah, then I was really into like Warhound, like Chicago bands. I was really into Warhound, No Zodiac. There's like a lot. Harm's Way, obviously, because they were also really metal influence bands, so it was like real easy for me to like those bands, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually, like the name, I just told them like a lot of these bands talk about like friendship through and through, and we've all been friends since kids, so it was just kind of like it's easy to just name the band through and through, and then let's drop the word and just put the letter N.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's
he kind of presented that, and I like the idea from the jump, and then but at that time too, I was more so like, I'll just you that's like you're the vocalist, so if that's your theme, that's what you want to do. I like it, and I just wanted to focus more on the music, and that's kind of like been the dynamic since. But I mean, I like the name too, so
Yeah,
it was just kind of like cool through and through. Cool.
So it has nothing to do with
And then
AC/DC.
Yeah, long story
All
short,
right.
nothing.
Long story
Please, nothing. For the record,
All right.
everybody, if there's one takeaway,
Stop
nothing to
asking
do
us.
with
I'm
AC/DC.
gonna put you guys on the spot now, just because we were talking about this. Favorite hardcore metal scene in the U.S. East Coast, West Coast, Midwest, whatever. Which area? What's your favorite?
So outside of Little Village, because to me there's nothing better than Los Crudos, than Eternal Deadline. To me, for those, right, the biggest hardcore band in Little Village and Pilsen was Los Crudos, and then for us, the biggest metal band in Little Village and Pilsen was fucking Eternal Deadline. So for those two, those are my all-time favorite. But outside of where we're from, I really love the Venice Beach crossover.
Okay.
Like Suicidal Tendencies, obviously.
Okay.
I love fucking No Mercy, Neighborhood Watch. There were so many bands during that time, right? Like from Venice Beach that I like a lot. Exile. What's the other one? Beowulf.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're great bands. I thought, to me, that's like the tier hardcore heavy metal like scene. It's the best scene I've ever seen. It's diverse. It's very diverse. It's most of these people are Mexican American. They're black. They're Asian. As opposed to like North California at the time where it was all like white people in the 80s. Not to say it in that way, maybe you had your Kirk Hammetts who were Filipino and stuff like that. But I feel like that Venice Beach was like Venice Beach scene was what I could relate to the most. And that's why I like it a lot.
Yeah, I think West Coast. I'm just trying to think about the places we've played. West Coast was cool. Texas had a good scene too. But yeah, I think West Coast, like Cali, all the Cali stuff, like all those guys like just throw down. It's like they'll support any. Like if you're there and they're there and like they just like what you do, like they're not gonna be like, oh, we don't know these guys, so we're not gonna like support them. You know what I mean? It was like when we first started playing out there, we didn't know too many people, or like if someone was seeing us for the first time, like they just threw down because they thought the music was cool. And I feel like in some other scenes, it's more so like we don't know who these guys are, so we're just gonna like be cool and like stay in the back. You know what I mean? Like whatever. Like those aren't my friends, so I'm not gonna like mosh for them or whatever.
It
Call
helps.
them out. Where have you encountered that attitude?
We'll stay quiet about that.
It's funny.
This is a positive
okay.
podcast.
It's
I don't
fun.
like to talk smack.
It's funny. A lot of people say that Chicago has that reputation.
Oh yeah,
I've
really?
seen that happening.
Chicago's got that reputation. They're like, I'm too cool to do anything.
Like
A little bit.
I mean, yeah, maybe, but like I wouldn't say it's specific to Chicago. Like I'm saying, like that stuff is in. It can be found almost anywhere.
My answer was gonna be the Midwest, like
including
favorite?
Ohio, in Wisconsin,
yeah,
Oh,
Michigan.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like-
Wisconsin. Yeah, Wisconsin's
Yeah,
cool.
I like
We've had
Indiana
a lot of
and
good
stuff
shows
like
in
that.
Wisconsin.
Yeah,
They throw down.
So during the years like 2015 to like 2018, even now, but like 2015, 2018, like I saw some like crazy shows, like just no politics involved, nothing. Like it was just like straight up like brutal shows where like kids were just beating the shit out of each other, circle pitting, mosh pitting, whatever. Like it was badass. And then I mean, shit happens behind the scenes, but like it kind of died out. And so like, but like now like younger kids are getting into like hardcore and stuff like that, and I see it's still popping off. And so yeah, I think the Midwest, like people from like all around come for like there's Midwest, like a Midwest fest happening like right now actually, and yeah, a lot of people from all over come out, and I see that they go and like pack it up, you know. So yeah, Midwest, just because I think it's like in the middle of everywhere.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yeah, Midwest was probably, yeah. I like it too. It's close. It would almost be tied for me. Like I just had a good time in the West Coast, like playing in front of like basically strangers, and like it felt like I knew them. Like I didn't feel like I got that energy where it was like they don't know us,
Yeah.
and I have to like, I have to try my hardest to impress them, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was right. I did kind of overlook it. Like Wisconsin, Ohio, we had some good times there too, and like they're friendly too. Like what's that saying? Like Midwest, like it's like supposed to be friendly or whatever. Like yeah, it's like we play, and I feel like by the end of the night I have like so many friends.
Yeah.
People that I was like normally like I feel like maybe somewhere else I might not even be like friends with these people when they're like, oh, they're so nice, and like they enjoy our music. Like that's awesome. Good scene.
But yeah, with SoCal, like a lot of people will mosh over there, like for you. No, like they don't give a fuck.
And it
Like
feel-
they just want to hear like bands play.
Good music.
And it
right?
feels
Yeah.
comfortable over there when you see a lot more brown people at your show.
It does feel comfortable.
Like it's just like yes.
Yeah, there's a lot more brown
I
people.
feel like
Oh
I'm
yeah,
at
that
home.
too. But that was going what I was saying.
Even though-
earlier.
some of them don't speak Spanish, which is crazy.
Yeah, I feel like we like
doesn't it make you feel weird? Like,
Yeah,
like
little bit.
Yeah.
yeah.
sometimes
Also, Chicago has better Mexican food than
yes,
California.
it does.
You know, you're the
Fact.
third, fourth person that told me that.
I'll agree on that
Yeah.
too.
I've told you that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Which is
so-
mind blowing.
We'll make it.
I
a
don't
thing.
like Mexican food here in Chicago.
Really?
Wow.
Wow.
I mean, I prefer the food of
Dude,
Mexico.
go sit over
obviously.
Well, I mean,
there.
well, I mean,
Yeah.
Go sit
Mexico's
over there.
Mexico.
Yeah.
Mexico's Mexico, but like
Yeah,
in comparison to
because I've been trying to find the best Mexican food
right.
in the U.S.
You don't
that's
need-
the same as
My
Mexico.
mom's house.
But it's
Yeah.
hard. It's
One
hard.
of our moms.
My mom's cooking.
Yeah.
His mom's cooking.
I've been trying to find the best mole.
Best mole? Oh,
Yeah,
mama,
dude,
it's
it's
a
hard to
fire
find
ass
mole,
mole.
man.
Dude, you just don't eat enough in
you
Little
have
Village.
you have a spot. You have a spot in the city so far that you like the most, or you're
Um,
trash,
Canton Regio in
Okay.
18th Street, and also Cecinos,
or where's
Okay.
this?
which is also on 18th Street.
Yeah.
18th and what?
It's 18th and Ashland.
Cecinos?
Cecinos
Or Cecina?
Cecina. There you go.
Cecina Grill.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's an.
And also, I'm gonna
that's
represent.
Comanches.
I'm gonna represent my suburb. Elgin has two great
Oh, you're from
Mexican.
Elgin?
Yeah,
Okay.
two great Mexican restaurants that people fight about which one's the better one. It's between El Faro and El Paraíso.
I like Faro.
Yeah.
Because we have a Faro in Little Village.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so crazy because someone was telling me like El Faro has a reputation. Like there's these sports commentators, the Minnesota Vikings.
yeah, they're
When they
famous.
come to when the Vikings play here, the Chicago Bears, they go all the way to Elgin just to get the Mexican food.
Mhm.
I mean,
Yeah, I
it's
heard
good,
about
but
that.
it's not Mexican food from Mexico. You know,
Oh,
it's
right.
Yeah, but
I
that's
mean,
sorry.
to
I
them-
put my
to-
standards
well,
high.
It's
To
way
them.
it's way different than going to a puesto and like
Yeah, true.
the street
Yeah,
in Mexico.
yeah, and like to them, maybe like that's their standard of Mexico.
Yeah.
you know
True,
what I'm saying?
true.
Like, if they've never been to like the F or like Guadalajara and like eating straight off like taquero, like
Oh, dude, it's the best.
Like,
no, I mean I hear you. Trust me. Yeah, but
My younger brother, he recently, like last week or 2 weeks ago, he had his first experience going to LA, with his friends and stuff like that. And he was complaining to my mom how there was no like Milagro tortillas over there and shit like that. He's like, oh yeah, we were trying to have this asada happen and shit like that, but like the tortillas are shitty over there. Like,
Really,
it's
that's
bullshit over
interesting.
there, So
Wow.
I'm like, well,
I mean, yeah.
yeah.
But also, I mean, granted, at the end of the day, we're from Chicago, so we have a little bit of bias, obviously. Right?
Obviously, yeah.
But no, it's still. I think it's great. Like I don't know. I feel like I've
Yeah.
tried, because what are the hot supposedly the hot spots in Mexico was like Texas, like the super like Mexican
Yeah,
areas in
yeah.
Texas, LA, and Chicago. I mean, I've had all three. I still like Chicago better, but
I've
Yeah.
also
Might
been
be
told
biased.
that Arizona and New Mexico has some
Oh,
great
Arizona has some
stuff,
good
too.
spots.
So
Arizona
Sorry,
has
I'm
some, I
going
forgot,
so
yeah.
logical on
I've
on
been to
Mexican
Phoenix.
food.
Yeah.
Dude, no, yeah.
Arizona has some decent spots. New Mexico, all the spots I've been to in New Mexico, when we've been into New Mexico, is they're I feel like they're a little bit more like Tex-Mex oriented.
Yeah.
Like the green salsa, the hatch chili.
Yeah.
They're like big on that. Even at the Mexican restaurants in New Mexico, it's like it's assumed there that like they do like this weird like they put like hatch
Yeah.
chilies and all this stuff. That's like not necessarily common in Mexican cuisine, but
Chicago though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I told my California friends, I'll be like, I'll fight you.
Dude,
like-
they really love the food there, man. I mean, I've never been to California, so I
and I
wouldn't
mean
know.
a lot of times it's like
Yeah.
dude, it's like carne asada fries. That's not even Mexican.
Yeah.
I mean, it's got carne
They
asada.
have that thing, carne asada fries.
Like that's your thing out there.
Okay.
So it's fries
All right.
loaded pretty much with like.
I mean, it's good. Don't get me wrong, it's good.
Yeah,
but
it
it's
is
not
good.
like you can't say you have better Mexican food when your food is like a hybrid of Mexican food.
Yeah.
It's all Tex-Mex.
Well,
It's all Tex-Mex.
I mean, in Cali, not really, but it's its own thing. But yeah, it's not.
Yeah,
necessarily-
if you don't tell them to fucking put cilantro and cebolla on your tacos, they'll fucking put lechuga and tomate.
Ah,
Yeah,
dude, come
duh.
on.
Tomate.
Dude, there's so many times we're like eating in different states. Mexican, all we do is complain about it. Well, back at home they would do this.
Yeah.
Like this is what this needs. you know?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I like all kinds of food. So like, I already know when I'm far from one of these hubs, I guess you can call. It's like I'm not even gonna try the Mexican food.
Yeah, when we're on tour, I look for the Mexican food.
Yeah.
He'll try
'Cause
it and
that's
then,
all I
like,
eat at home.
set himself
Okay.
up for disappointment.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you are asking for
Yeah.
disappointment.
But that's fine.
Like,
It's
that's
'cause
why I'm like,
I
dude,
get really homesick, so I'm like,
Okay.
I need a fucking
No,
taco.
I'm the opposite.
There's like one time I remember being really fucking mad. Like
I'm
we
the
ate something, I was just
But
like,
no,
"Fuck
he-
this
yeah,
Tex-Mex
he's the opposite.
bullshit."
He likes doing the most.
I'm a
tourist-
foodie, so like
Yeah,
if
yeah.
I already know like depending.
He
on where
likes
I'm
to hit
at,
up all the fucking
Do you guys
Yelp
watch-
places. I don't know.
wherever I'm at. Like I know what they're famous
Yeah,
for, and I'm
yeah.
gonna try what they're famous for.
Do you guys remember that YouTube or Vine video with that woman who who felt her torta fell? Do you get that hangry? Like, man, I had my torta, now it's gone. Like,
No,
how
I've
hangry
never
do you
seen
get?
that.
No, I don't know.
I hate
haven't seen
tortas, but I
Yeah.
don't really eat tortas like that.
I
Too much
don't
bread.
know. I don't know. I wish I would have seen it. Maybe I think he might get.
It's funny. It's like a chola just getting hangry about her torta. It was funny stuff.
Yeah, we do get pretty hangry on tour though.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
It happens.
I like trying all the
We
new
turn into
stuff.
divas.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pretty open about it.
he's the one that will go and search up what was the most popular.
Or like we'll be in a city and I'll be like, guys, we're supposed to try this. Like, this is what
Yeah,
they're known
yeah,
for. And they're like, oh, for real? I was like, yeah. And then like, don't go looking for Mexican food in Middle America. You know what I mean? Like,
Ruben and Sergio are like the most open to it. I'm like, no, I gotta.
he's like,
fucking-
I gotta find tacos, and we're like in fucking Nebraska or
Yeah.
some super.
I found
small
it, though.
state. He'll find enough, but we have.
But
found
he
some
gets
Hey,
gems.
when I
disappointed.
found that restaurant in South Dakota,
We have found some gems where it's like the
I was
random,
gonna
like,
say-
Mexican family, and like they're like the only Mexican family in the state.
There's a lot of paisas in Nebraska and Arkansas now. Or
Yeah.
Kansas.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
Kansas, too.
in Kansas,
Arkansas?
Yeah.
Sorry.
In,
I like to
Asylum.
slaughter it at the
in Arkansas.
hey, I say Arkansas too.
Nebraska, yeah, Nebraska has a lot of Latinos. They have a lot of, they have a big Dominican population too.
Too, really? Dominican?
yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, for some
I don't
reason,
know. Yeah, don't ask
for
me
some
why.
reason, Latinos are trying to take over. Fucking.
ask me why or
fuck
how.
wherever
Let's
that
fucking
is.
do it, bro.
Right? We'll build the pyramids again.
Shit, I bet if we played at Casper, Wyoming one time, I bet I would have found some shit there.
Yeah, you, dude,
Oh,
you
yeah,
always
once-
do.
yeah.
You found one in Oklahoma. Was it? Oklahoma?
No, the one in Oklahoma was
That-
horrible.
but that
Yeah.
was my first one, and I was like, I need to fucking
That was the
get
one
good at
with
this
the-
Okay,
shit.
what's your go-to taco?
Just asada, like
No pastor?
nah, that's asada.
Okay, all right.
Tripas.
I'll do pastor, but I'll do cabeza if they have cabeza.
All right. Lengua?
Yeah, I'll do lengua
Shit,
too.
Lengua was my shit.
I met a person who doesn't want to eat lengua because it's gross. But like, dude, it's a dead animal.
Yeah,
Just try it
it's
Oh,
anyways.
that animal, dude.
Yeah.
It's like those people.
The germs are all gone.
It's like
By the time
When
you
it
cook 'em.
cooks at that temperature,
Right.
all that shit.
it's like the people when they get their ham sliced. They're like, I want it real thin because if it's too thick, it'll just disgust me. It's like
Dude.
it's a dead carcass anyway. Who are you complaining?
You're eating that animal anyway, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I've never tried lengua. What's the texture of it compared to
Mushy.
like steak?
mushy and
Soft.
soft.
Softer.
Yeah.
Very humid.
yeah, that's
If
true.
you want to compare it to something
Yeah.
humid.
Wow.
But it tastes good with
Interesting.
lime and fucking salsa.
Yeah, I'm getting hungry,
Yeah,
guys.
green sauce.
The green salsa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm a burrito guy. I love
yeah.
me a good burrito.
Yeah.
I'll judge a place over the burritos more than the
Same here.
tacos.
Same here. And then nowadays, it's a bigger bang for your buck to get
Oh,
a burrito
absolutely.
than a
That
taco.
That too.
So,
But I feel like there's more room for error for a burrito. So if you can make a good ass burrito, that means you're on point. Cause like a taco, like I mean, like realistically, like it's hard to fuck it up. Like a taco's a taco.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, if you have bad food, you have bad food. But like a burrito is like, if you suck at making a burrito, then you just suck. Like you
I
have
shouldn't
to
even
really know
yeah.
how to make it good. Cause a taco, like you can cover it up. You can just if you
Just
put
add a bunch of salsa.
if you add a bunch of salsa or meat on it, like maybe something. Oh, okay, whatever, it can pass. But a burrito, like, there's no room for error. Like it has to be good.
True.
A bad burrito, like you'll be able to spot a bad burrito.
on that note, do you guys have any last words before we close out?
Yeah. So for me, I would, or for the band in general, through and through, just keep an eye out for our 2-song promo that's about to come out.
Yeah,
We did kind of release one of the songs. We
it was like a
pre-release, but just be prepared for that. And I'm thinking sometime in April. We have the tour coming up in June, and we have another tour lining up for late July. Just keep your eyes up, fucking for this new style of metal music that we're trying to write and have fun with. But yeah, that's probably about it for my part. I don't know if you guys have anything else to say.
Yeah, new music's on the way. Gonna do some tours. Shout out to Eric. Eric, what's that? Lichtenberg. He recorded and produced.
Sorry if we fucked
these.
your
Yeah, sorry
last
if I
name up,
butchered your
Eric.
last name. But we recorded him with him.
Agnostic Studio.
Agnostic
Did he
Studios.
mix it as well.
Yeah,
Yeah, he
Good
mixed
mix.
he mixed and produced it.
he's great.
He's pretty sick. He's probably
Is he also from the South Side?
No,
No.
he's I think
From
he's
Michigan
he's from
original.
Michigan. He lives in the city now.
Yeah,
But he's a cool guy.
he's the drummer of Hostages, which is another great hardcore heavy metal band.
And bases of 1837
oh yeah,
now.
that's right.
Yeah.
What? 18 what?
37.
So it's a new band. I don't know if they're new, but it's another band.
They're older, newer band.
Right. Okay. So
They're just a band with the
Right.
new lineup. There we go.
shout out to him.
Yeah.
Yeah, he worked with the way we wanted things. Like
It
You
might
know-
be the most satisfied I am with our sound as far as recordings goes.
he's definitely the first person that has captured us, like how we sound live, like the loudness, the actual like feeling. Because not putting anyone else down, I think we've always recorded with some of the greatest people, but like he really got what we were feeling and what we wanted to do. Especially when we're telling him like, hey, look, dude, like we want this to sound like a hardcore band is transitioning to metal. And he was like, I'm up for it. Like I'm down. I'll see what I can do. And especially like me with like, hey man, the vocals gotta have like this 1980s reverb behind it. And I just kept pointing that out, and he was able to make it happen. So I'm real happy with it.
Yeah, I feel for like our first EPs, like we were kind of still in the process of learning like what we really wanted, not to sound like, but like what we really wanted in the recordings. So I mean, after those takes, like we're kind of like just like, oh, since in our own minds we're like, oh, since I didn't do that last EP, or I'll do this EP or for this release or whatever. Yeah, but everybody we've recorded with, like, it's been chill. Like, we've had a great time, like, recording with them. Yeah.
So you did 2 songs with this guy?
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
both going to come out in the next.
We're most
month
likely
or so.
going to do a whole EP with him.
Yeah. So yeah,
down the line.
down the line. Right now, we're gonna really focus on the release of Barrio Nocturno. That's gonna
Yeah,
be the
it's
name
like
of the.
What is that
The promo.
about, by the way?
Okay,
'Cause
you
I-
said it. Okay, barrio means neighborhood. Okay, because I heard.
Oh, night neighborhood.
Pretty much like
Yeah.
nocturnal neighborhood. Just because, again, going back into what the lyrics are about, I'm still talking about the struggles that we grew up with in their neighborhood with gangs, police brutality, street politics, and stuff like that going on. But I'm like I said, I keep mentioning this name, right? But yeah, it's kind of like, what if King Diamond, one of my all-time favorite singers, wrote some scary horror story about my neighborhood, because it could happen, like it's basically like I feel like Little Village is like the heavy metal land, right? Because you got people trying to kill each other over colors. You got people trying to, take advantage of or like cops, right? Take advantage of their power, and it seems like it's some like out of this world kind of Mad Max like land, So that's why for me it's very like I feel like Little Village. It's like what's not metal about Little Village? There's all these things going on that we could put them in an awesome story, and also raise awareness of like what's going on here, like the social unrest that's here, right? Well, not here, but there where we're from, like what is going on with the social unrest and stuff like that. So I could have this fun with it, right? Write about my experiences in a, I don't want to say I'm poking fun at it or like trying to make like exploit it, but I get to do something different this time with it lyrically, and also make sure that people are knowing what's going on, how it's happening, and what are the things that we can do to prevent a lot of the stuff that's happening to the people there, if that makes any sense. I know I go into these tangents.
No,
it's
it
cool.
didn't.
It's cool.
No, I'm just kidding.
That's something I was going to say when you said you're not a political band. I hear a lot of that political stuff in your music. At least like the last full length album, there's songs about like ICE and like
So
privilege and.
So the reason why I say we're not a political band, because I don't think any of us here are part of any political party or care for any political party here. Well, one of my strongest beliefs is like fighting for immigrant rights. That's not political. That's someone's life. That's humanity. That's caring about humanity. So that to me, that's not political. Like Black Lives Matter, that's not political. That's something that should be part of our everyday thoughts. Like you can't make someone's life into a political statement. And I think that's one of the things why I say we're not a political band. If anything, we're just a band that believes in decency. So, that's why I always say that.
Yeah.
That's fair. I don't really get down with any particular political parties these days either.
You can't.
I really want to end this show, but we're getting into some really good conversations, and I just wanted to ask you guys, like, as POCs, people of color, have you ever gotten shade from other folks of other colors, like white people or anything, just giving you,
Definitely white people. Not
they basically make the excuse like you guys are only good or popular just because you're a bunch of Mexicans, or like anything like that.
I haven't gotten, well, at least in my experience, not that in specific, but more so like I feel a lot of the content or of our songs and stuff like live or anything makes them uncomfortable because I imagine some of these guys are probably going to shows and they're just there to drink beer, whatever, listen to music, and then when you speak on these topics, it makes not just white people, maybe anybody really, it can make them uncomfortable. So we've had like people like maybe walk out in the middle of our sets when Ruben will say something like he'll start speaking on how on ICE and police brutality and give his the opinion on police and everything. And there's been
white people.
Yeah, I mean, majority it is white people. I don't want to say exclusively, but majority. And then like you can see you see them look uncomfortable and they'll walk out. That's happened plenty of times.
Yeah. Especially like white men get real disappointed. Like when I say stuff like this song is a feminist song, right? I obviously we're allies of women who are feminist, and they, not that I speak for women, but this is a safe space for everybody, right? So I'm going to make sure of that when I'm presenting our songs. And I tell people this is a space for women. And I do see that there's like our song Self-Worth. That song is that's all the one where I always say like this is a feminist song, and I see a lot of like white males just like look at each other and are like, let's go. Which is like, whatever. You don't like our message, that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but don't think I'm going to cater to you, because I don't even cater to my friends. This is just what we really believe in.
Makes
you know?
makes me wonder if they have a copy of a Screwdriver LP.
I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it.
I'll tell you the joke later. they're a Nazi oi punk band.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of figured.
Ugh.
Yeah, I would say maybe at most that. I don't think anyone's. Well, at least I don't think anyone's ever told me or try to downplay what we do and like people. You know, whatever, everything we've accomplished because of us being brown or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's just more so.
I feel like if that's ever happened to us, we'll shut that shit down quick. You know, like we're pretty open minded and shit. Like we'll speak our what we gotta say all the time. Like we never sugarcoat shit. Like me personally, and like these guys too. You know, like we're not scared of shit. Like,
I mean, you guys told us already you hate AC/DC, so there's no sugarcoating around it.
Yeah,
I'm sure someone's gonna go. I'm not gonna listen to those guys
I'm
anymore.
gonna walk out during their
Yeah.
set too.
You know, it's all about how you come up to us. Like, you know, if you're cool with us, you say what's up to us, we can say what's up to you back. Like,
Yeah,
nothing's crazy.
Yeah, I think none of us have ever tried to make someone feel uncomfortable or try to make them feel like they didn't belong. Because the whole point of this music, right? The whole point of heavy metal and hardcore punk rock, I feel that it get throughout time, the message of inclusiveness gets lost. Like it gets lost sometimes, and it sucks, right? So we're here to remind people, no, this is still inclusive. This is still a place for you to come hang out. This is still a place for you to talk. Doesn't matter what ethnicity you are. We will embrace who you are. Just be normal. Not be normal. Just be yourself, and we'll embrace it. Like that's how we feel about stuff like that. And I feel that once you start including more women, people who are Asian, people who are Latin, people who are Black, people who are LGBTQ, then it becomes real inclusive instead of exclusive. And the more these things happen, and it'll be a better scene, and I think it's happening a lot more and more.
Yep.
Yeah, well, thank you guys.
Respect.
Yeah,
For sure.
this was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sick.
This is long, wasn't
So
it?
those,
It happens,
yeah, I feel like
dude.
we're like on last words, and then it
Yeah.
just turned to this whole thing.
I could go into so much shit.
I feel like-
I could just give shout outs and we
You're right. I feel
we
like
call it a
I
day.
feel like I gave a shout out, and then it just like kept going. And he didn't even give no shout
Oh,
out.
go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
yeah.
My bad.
shameless-
It just happened. I forgot.
shameless plugs for my bands.
ADHD. Sorry.
Yeah, I'll give some shameless plugs for
Yeah.
my band. Well, Iced Out, I do vocals for them. Shout out to all those guys. Fucking love them to death. Carrion Throne, my death metal band. I play drums for that one. And yeah, we're gonna release an EP soon. We've been saying that for a couple years now, but like it's just hard because it's fucking.
Dude, we're
it's,
all
it's
adults,
technical,
man.
brutal death metal. Chicago fucking atmospheric brutality. That's what we call it. So yeah, shout out to those guys. Fucking love those guys too. And yeah, shout out to all my homies. Shout out to
Death
Hostages. So many bands. South Arsenal. Game more bands.
Death Creeper, who we're going on tour
Death
with.
Creeper, duh. Yeah, who we're going on tour with.
Face First.
I was blanking out for a little bit.
Face First from
fucking Boston.
From Boston. I was gonna say Massachusetts, but yeah, Face First from Boston.
Go Patriots.
Oh boy. Hey, you're wearing a Raiders hat. Come on. Come
Go into a
on. Come on.
sports
It was a
tangent.
gift. It was a
We're about
gift.
to go into a sports tangent.
No,
There's a
no,
whole-
yeah, see, we
good.
go
We
all
have another
night.
hour.
Then from there, we're gonna talk about wrestling.
Oh, God.
Snap. Oh,
Kenny
snap.
Omega versus Hijo del Vikingo.
Yeah, that's his last match
Wednesday.
in AEW. He's
Stop,
going to WWE.
No, he's not. Or he can't. But it's better than a WrestleMania match.
Okay.
And it's happening tomorrow, right? Correct?
No,
WrestleMania in like 2 weeks.
Okay, 2 weeks. Okay.
which I'm excited. Cody Rhodes is gonna win that title.
Yeah, and then
I'm gonna cry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
What happened with the game you were watching?
Duke lost.
Against whom?
Tennessee.
Oh no.
Shout out Death Creeper, not Joe though.
I think we said that Creeper already.
Yeah. But I wanted to say not Joe.
Not Joe. Joe's cool. I like
know,
that guy.
He's my guy. Just
Well, yeah.
doing shit all the time. Who else are we missing?
There's just so many bands to name, man, and it's
Blanking out.
like I'm being.
Gave a shout out to Eric.
Yes.
Eric.
Yeah, from Hostages in
Leachfield,
1837.
right?
Yeah, Lichtenberg.
Lichtenberg.
Lichtenberg. I think it's Lichtenberg.
Dude, he's such a great guy.
Hopefully.
All right, I hope so.
Yeah. Shout out to everybody who wished me a happy birthday yesterday.
Malinche.
Happy belated birthday.
Malinche, yeah.
I guess November Riot, because those are old friends of ours.
Yeah, November Riot.
Those are old friends of ours.
Next time we just need to make a whole list before we.
Yeah.
I know, right? Like, here's
Shout out to
our
everybody.
Putting you on the
down.
spot.
If you guys, like, are able to fucking host any of those bands, they're cool. as
Shout
hell.
out. I mean,
Sawbuck.
Sawbuck.
shout out to
Elenia.
Homero and Homer and Homer's parents.
Branches.
Homer's
Shout out
parents.
to my parents for having me.
Right? Oh, yeah. My old drummer, Jerry's family, who's always, for some reason, supported me, even though I'm not in the band with
fuck
their
yeah.
Shout out
nephew
to my
anymore.
mom, dude.
The Mares
My
family.
dad.
That's family that ain't family right there, yeah.
Yeah.
Shout out to the babysitter.
Right.
Shout out to my brother, Ramiro, for fucking showing me System of a Down when I was like 10 years old. And me getting in trouble by my mom for listening to it. She's like, ¿Qué es esto, cabrón?
Yeah, we really appreciate everybody that supports us, and they fuck with what we do, and yeah, like we appreciate everybody, like for real. Like we know so many people that it's tough to like mention
Oh,
everybody.
no, it is,
sometimes.
and then
And
they
we
get
really want
insulted
to.
afterwards. Like, oh, you didn't mention me.
Yeah. We blink out.
We
so-
do.
Yeah.
Shout out them fighting words too. See, they just pop
It's
up
like it
randomly.
pops out, but I think I'll leave it at this. It's just like I'm gonna take this as you want, but like Viva Mexico y el resto de Latinoamérica.
Oh, are you guys rooting for the
Here we
Mexico
go.
baseball
World
thing?
Baseball Classic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mexico just beat Puerto Rico yesterday.
Yeah, and
Don't be mad,
dude,
Puerto
Japan,
Ricans.
dude. Japan's
We
gonna
love
be
you,
tough.
Oh, dude, Japan's the favorite.
Japan's
dude.
gonna be tough, bro.
Shohei
And I don't
Ohtani.
like baseball, and I'm into it too.
Japan,
This is
well,
crazy.
When
Japan's
you
like the favorite, dude.
When you see the whole world go at it,
Sure.
It's a different thing. It's a
like
different
me,
vibe.
Like me, I'm not a soccer person at all, but every 4 years I'll watch the World Cup because
Dude,
it's
it was
really
great.
exciting.
Just wait till the basketball FIBA World comes this summer.
Oh, are they doing it?
Yeah, this
Sweet.
is this
Okay,
summer,
looking
this
forward to it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I just hope the U.S. doesn't win. It's just like they always.
Well,
win,
Euro's
yeah.
been catching up.
I
That's
mean-
right. The Redeem Team documentary came out
Yeah.
because
Those
got
Eastern
embarrassed.
Europeans are really good, man.
they are. Well, I mean, all of Europe.
Yeah,
At this point,
but those Lithuanians,
Serbians.
don't mess with them.
Yeah, for real.
Hey, you let my coffee get cold, man.
Sorry, homie. Yeah, it just that happens when we get
Do
into
you
a
know
good
who I
conversation.
am? No, I'm just playing.
But yeah, I guess that's
Ruben's the least like member of the band. No, it's-
Probably. Not gonna lie, there's times I do get a little.
The most evil one.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
I have a thing for when green rooms when we play out of town. I had to get a green room by myself. Like I don't want anyone in there.
I mean, as a lead singer, you gotta have to have your own space to psych yourself up. Because if you don't do that, it might be like a precursor of having a bad show.
yeah, I can see how it's tough because
Yeah.
we're really
I'm not
like
trying to enable you, but
No,
I'm
I-
understanding.
I-
I'm understanding.
before shows
you.
we prep our gear,
Yeah.
we warm up.
Yeah.
We're not even really thinking about anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got nothing to do. He just
It's mental.
yeah, for real.
It's a big mental thing, and I just want to make sure everything goes well. Although times when it comes to loading out, I'll walk away from these guys.
As a vocalist, bro, sometimes there's so much things you want to say. Sometimes they don't even come out, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna say this and that, and then you just don't.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
it gets hard, right? Because you want to make every moment special. You want to make sure every show should be an event, and that's obviously every band member has a responsibility to that, but it belongs more to the lead singer, the front man,
True.
right?
Correct.
So luckily I'm in a band where for some reason or the other, for one reason or the other, they're moving around. They're having fun. Like Isaiah here and Sergio, they do vocals as well. They help me out. And they talk to the crowd when they see that I'm tired and I need like maybe a second or two. They start talking to the crowd and wild up the crowd. And then right here, Romario, he's just wilding out like all over the stage with his guitar and swinging his hair everywhere. And people
Yeah,
are
his
just
stage
loving
presence is badass.
So it's like
both
that.
of them, both
Yeah.
of their stage presence.
Thank you.
Fuck on, dude.
Yeah, as a drummer, I wish I could move around.
Right.
Dude,
I just
man,
had
you
bad-
got to keep that beat. It's
Yeah.
really important.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah, it's fun, man. This thing's been going on for like 4 hours already. Or am I?
No, that's the number of like measures.
Oh, I thought it was
Actually-
4 hours. I was like, holy
There's
crap.
still sun out.
Shout out non-alcoholics.
Yes, shout out to AA.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hate it. No. Just kidding. I've never done
No, but yeah, this is fun, and thank you guys for
No,
having
definitely.
us.
Thank you
Yeah, we
for
appreciate it.
asking.
Thanks
Oh
for
yeah,
coming.
I
Yeah.
definitely just I saw the videos to your podcast and I thought, man, I'd like to get on there. I'd like to have my band members act like fools on there, and
it. I can do that
Yeah.
without asking.
That ain't no problem. That's how I am.
And maybe another time we can talk about the NBA or something, because I got a feeling you know your stuff.
Yes. Yeah, we can talk about that. He's the NFL guy.
Yeah.
I'm the
I
NBA
I
guy.
can't do NFL. I'm sorry.
I love
Yeah.
football.
Well, we can talk about basketball then.
You like JJ Watt?
As a person or a player?
Player, of course. I don't know anything
Okay.
about person.
Player.
Huh.
He's okay.
Do you like that Brady kisses his kids?
Brady's my favorite player of all time.
Bro, that's
but,
his
I
that's
mean,
his man right there.
Yeah.
dude.
yeah.
Just
I mean,
Kind of weird.
the one
now,
open that
yeah,
kind of
it is
worms.
weird, but I mean, that's their thing. It is weird. I wouldn't kiss my dad like that. Like,
I'm
I
just
didn't-
hoping.
Does he kiss him like all
On the lips.
weird?
Like yeah,
on the
like,
lips.
like
His 10-year-old
like
on
romantic,
the lips.
like a romantic kiss.
Just a
Yeah, that's weird.
boy or a girl? Not that it matters,
Boy.
but
I think it's
Okay.
a boy.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
or
it's a
both.
boy.
It doesn't matter.
yeah.
I just
Yeah.
I just think it's weird
your
when parents
son.
do that.
It's your child.
I'll kiss my dad on the
Rather.
cheek. That's about it.
Yeah, see, like me and my
And
brother, we kiss.
This
each
guy's
other
making
on
out
the
with
cheek.
him. Yeah, but as a football player, the best. All that other shit, like,
All right, so okay.
Then
Are you?
We're still doing this.
All right, let's finish it because we're gonna talk about
you
other
wanted to
stuff.
ask another sports question.
Yeah, I was gonna ask him what he thinks about Aaron Rodgers, but who cares? We'll just talk
fuck
about
him
that.
too.
I hope that motherfucker
As a
cries.
person and a player.
Dude, I hope he
Damn.
falls in the ditch and
He
never
said,
gets out.
ivermectin, bro.
I hate the Packers, so obviously.
He went from one shitty team to another.
Oh, the
You're
Jets
gonna lose
are
all those
fine.
Wisconsin
Yeah,
fans.
yeah.
The Jets are
Next
fine.
time.
Where's he playing now?
Pretty good.
Jets.
The Jets.
The Jets.
Oh,
Okay.
He's not in the Packers.
No.
anymore?
He's well. It's not official, but he's going to the Jets.
Yeah.
They're like waiting to finalize something.
Thank God.
He gave him a list of players he wants.
He has a
them to
list of
sign
requests.
Yeah.
Ah.
for them.
Odell Beckham Jr. is
I
one
thought
of
he was
them.
gonna go back to California.
Oh, it's San Francisco? No way.
Yeah.
That would have been crazy.
That would have been crazy, but
He could come to the Bears.
No,
If he
I
gets
like
a
Justin
Bears
Fields.
Fields.
ta-
Do that.
I
if he
like
gets a
Justin Fields.
Bears tattoo.
I like Justin Fields. No, I want Justin Fields. To
Yeah,
be
no,
great.
definitely.
He does own the Bears, so
You're gonna
You
piss
better
off a
take
lot of
that
people.
back.
You're gonna piss off
Never.
a lot of people right now.
You better take that back, sir.
I'm not. We can fight.
You know what? Hey, who knows how to play drums? No, just kidding.
I quit. I quit the band right now.
You can't.
First band quitting on a
Yeah.
live
On
podcast.
live podcast.
That could be the fucking
You're under
caption.
The
like, drummer quits on podcast.
Alright.
Quits the band on podcast.
You're under contract,
Wow.
buddy. Good luck getting out of that one.
I've been trying to quit 2 of my bands and they don't let me.
It's like what, Mexican slavery for you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a toxic relationship.
Dang you guys.
Right.
Stockholm syndrome.
Right,
Oh my
right.
God.
Sick.
Yeah. I've been trying to quit Carrying Throne and trying to quit Throne.
Oh my
They
god.
don't let me.
Oh my god. What?
You can't do
All right.
it.
Well, thank you guys for watching. Be ready to hear Through and Through's music in the
Without
near future.
drums.
Without drum. Me and Guido are going acoustic.
Just we're gonna
Folk
do,
metal.
We're gonna do folk music, just acoustic guitar. And
Right.
Well, all right.
Peace.
Peace out,
Appreciate
everybody.
Bye.
2 new
Thanks for
songs coming
watching.
out soon.
Check them out. Check out all our socials too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put them in the description.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
That was awesome.
Yeah.